Going live now.
Before I knew it, the entire town was infested with zombies. Zombies.
God.
Oh, man. It's good stuff.
Look at that. We're alive.
Where are we live?
We're live.
Live to tape.
All right.
I think that means we can start. If you want to.
We can start
What else
if
are
we
we
want
gonna
to. You can
What else
leave
are we
your
gonna do?
friends behind. You know, like that song. The safety man.
Safety man.
Because your
Safety
friends
man.
are dancing and you can dance and you are having a time. Say, you can go everywhere where your friends are also at.
What's
And
that
then
like?
you can dance a whole lot, even if you don't have a hat.
Should have said mask.
Wouldn't have rhymed.
You're right.
Also, it's not men without masks.
Men without masks.
That's not.
I hear that group's real popular in Florida.
That's a lot of dead people. Pretty funny.
No, it's not.
Sicko.
It's not.
Yes.
So.
Sicko. You're a sicko.
No.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 714 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, July 14th, 2020. I just realized it's episode 714 for 714.
What?
How in the world?
I think this is where we need to stop.
I think this is the end of the line for this podcast. It can't get any better.
You
Can't
know-
possibly get any better than that.
You know, back when
Worse.
this podcast was started all those years ago, it was
This is
planned
it.
this way. We
This
planned it
is
this
it.
way. It was absolutely
714.
building up to this. 714 for
714.
714.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Take that, gaming Steve.
I am
The grandfather of all podcasts.
Chris Johnston, and with me, as always, from Canada is Mr. Greg Sewart.
I have a 4K TV now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Nice.
I bought a 4K TV.
So it's all installed and everything? It's
Oh, yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Installed.
It's all ready to go, hanging on the wall
Man.
right now.
You have anything to
Is that
play on that newfangled television set there? Yeah. Anything that's 4K to play on that?
I mean,
what'd you do? What'd you do?
It's a Roku TV. So there's a channel, the Dolby channel you can go to where they have all the.
Oh,
But yeah, it's just demo stuff right now.
Is it
Because
all like-
I still have my launch day PS4 and my
Like
Xbox One. So.
drone footage of nature and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
I
so.
did
Very
the
nice.
Some short clips of movies.
Okay.
yes. When I got my 4K TV, I did something similar. I activated the 4K tier of Netflix for a month
I haven't done that yet.
Oh.
and just played some Netflix on it.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
4K streaming through Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Are you really getting 4K out of that?
I doubt it. But
Probably
I don't know.
not. But it's probably not as good as a 4K
Like putting in a 4K.
UHD
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Streaming quality for
Are you gonna-
4K.
It is. I'm future proofed for November.
are you going to
You
go
are.
nuts buying 4K Blu-rays?
No.
Oh, okay.
I bought a few.
Oh, yeah?
I
They
don't even
are
have
all of the Planet Earth variety.
Yeah, there
enough.
you go.
Did you ever watch them?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And they
Okay.
look beautiful.
They
There you
do.
go.
I
There you
mean,
go.
previous ones looked beautiful in 1080p. So
They
Yeah.
did. You're
You know,
absolutely correct.
no, my Blu-ray collection it doesn't even fill a shelf of my media.
Right.
Um,
You're
Case.
digital only. with
yeah,
movies?
I'm not even that. I mostly
Oh,
just
You're mostly streamer.
mostly stream them, and
Mostly
if there's
stream.
something we really want to see that's not on a streaming service, I will pay for a digital rental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't
Yeah.
rewatch movies like I used to. There was a time when
Okay.
movies were like
Oh,
all I
man.
would watch. Like every night I would watch a movie.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore.
Dana, my wife, my significantly better half, and I have been
So far we all agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
no debate there. We've been watching some movies, because we'll pick a TV series and watch the show and stuff like that. But we kind of ran out of shows we've been really itching to watch.
Yeah, we're doing the same.
Yeah, and so we've been watching some movies these past few nights. We have watched. Let me run down what we've been watching here.
Give us the rundown.
Because we've been. I don't know if you know this. The world is crumbling around us. So we've been wanting some feel good.
But you guys are ahead of the curve. I'm just gonna say.
The United
Something
States.
like that.
Yeah.
United States. Washington State, not necessarily.
No.
Correct.
Well,
but
you're on the edge.
But the US as a whole, most certainly. But we watched because we've been looking for some feel good. We want some fun movies. So we watched Galaxy Quest again. Did a rewatch
That is
of
a
Galaxy
feel
Quest,
good movie.
which goodness gracious. I mean, I know we talk about that movie far more than probably most other video game podcasts.
True.
That movie's really good.
It's almost a perfect movie.
That movie is really
Almost a
good.
perfect movie.
That movie is so good.
I want the cut of the movie that has the swears in it, though.
I know, right?
Happen.
That
I don't think they want to do that at this point.
that
I don't
one
think so either.
the one line from Sigourney at the end when they're in the smashing hallway, and she clearly drops an F-bomb, but they
Clearly.
censored it.
And it's
but-
not even like they tried to fudge it.
Oh
Well,
no.
With something that used the same.
No.
Yeah.
Looks nothing. Yeah, the words
Nothing.
clearly.
That was
can-
absolutely cable broadcast caliber
Absolutely.
dubbing.
But my goodness, that movie is so great.
Yes.
Alan Rickman in that movie is
Brilliant.
amazing. And
Yeah.
everyone quotes the by Grabthar's hammer, what a savings line.
Absolutely.
But boy, if you go back and like actually don't look at an animated gif of it, just watch that scene.
Man, it was so you watched the documentary about the making of that film.
We watched like half of it so far.
What?
I haven't watched
You
it
haven't?
yet. Yeah,
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you have to
No.
watch it. And it's just because near the end they start talking about Alan Rickman because he was
Right.
quite sick,
Right.
before he passed. Yeah, I think was it cancer? Anyway, they talked about going to a few of the actors talked about meeting up with him to have dinner and everything. And they all throughout the whole thing they talk about he was just the nicest guy in
Right.
the world, so easy to work with, and so funny and
Yeah.
And at the end of that movie, or at the end of that documentary, I was in tears because they start talking about the last time they saw him.
Oh jeez.
Very weak,
Yeah.
and very frail, and still he was still him, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he was still
very
yeah.
Alan Rickman. And
Man, yeah. 'Cause,
anyway.
I mean, the way he hangs on that line and the look on his
Yeah.
face and just the gamut of expressions that he goes through in like that
the
5
pain you
seconds.
see in his eyes.
Yeah.
It's so amazingly good.
So good.
Holy crap.
And it's like the only good movie that Tim Allen's in. It's
Never
the
saw a Toy
only-
Story movie, did you?
Well, he is
Ah.
a voice.
Whoops.
Voice in that.
Whoops. It's
It's such a great movie, though.
the only good movie Tim Allen was in. I mean, aside from these other 4, but okay. Not that I'm a Tim Allen fan, but come on. Also,
Toy Story, Tim Allen movies. There
also,
you go.
yeah. Once
was
you
in Goalpost.
disregard all those good movies he was in, he's
That's
not
the only
really
good movie he was in.
he's not in a lot of good movies.
That's right.
But
I feel confident in saying that.
yeah. And then to prepare for the upcoming Bill and Ted Face the Music,
Oh,
we watched both Bill and Ted movies,
nice.
which are
I
still
still have not seen the second one more than once. I
Really?
only saw it in
Me
the theater
neither.
the one time. That's it.
Man, I'll tell you what. I think my appreciation for Bogus Journey has grown over the years.
Yeah.
It is so damn weird. It's so out. I mean, for a movie about 2 dopey California teenagers flying around in a phone booth collecting historical figures.
Yeah.
That one got weird.
That one, yeah, it got weird in Bogus Journey. It is so weird. It's such just a bizarre film, but it's fun as Dookie. You
Cool.
know, seriously.
I think I had the wrong expectations when I went in to see it.
Right.
I mean,
it's not quite the holy crap, what are they doing with this movie that you get from like Gremlins to Gremlins 2.
right.
But
Which
it's-
have you read the oral history of Gremlins 2 thing that was on the web somewhere about a month ago?
no,
I gotta link this to you. It's so
Yeah?
good.
I mean,
it's-
and I
That movie was
love-
literally done because they told Joe Dante,
Oh yeah,
I don't care what you do with this, just make a
Yes,
sequel. You can do anything you want.
I did hear about that. I've heard that bit. Yeah, where they were just like, yeah, Joe Dante, do what you want with it.
Do whatever you want.
And because Joe Dante is a nut, a beautiful nut, he was like, I'm just going to make a damn Looney Tunes cartoon.
I will have to link that in the show notes because
Yeah,
it is amazing.
Please do. I love
Yes.
Gremlins. I love Gremlins too. They are two,
I do as well.
They are two very different movies, but I love them both
But
so
I
much.
had wildly different expectations of Bill and Ted 2 than what I was getting out of that movie.
I mean, again,
at
the separation from Excellent Adventure to Bogus Journey is not quite Gremlins to Gremlins 2.
Right,
it's
right,
not
right.
that
It's
far
still-
off. It's
right.
not that far off.
And at that point, I had seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I had seen that in the theater so many times because it was at like the Dollar Cinema. That was like a bike ride away from my house.
Oh, nice.
It was like I saw it so many times during the summer. It's like, what do you want to do? Let's just go see Bill and Ted again.
Right.
So,
oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I recommend rewatching the two Bill and Ted movies just to prep yourself for.
I will do that
for the release of Bill and Ted 3. How I don't know how they're going to release it. I mean, it comes out like at the end of August,
right? I
supposedly
only.
I hope so. I hope.
Point.
Yeah, I hope they. I mean, they haven't claimed that they're doing that yet, but.
How
I hope
can
they
not.
Well, I know, right?
How
I hope
they not.
Because man, I'm itching to see it.
Me too.
Anyway,
Me too. By the way, from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald. Hello.
Oh, hey, how's it going? I haven't been introduced yet. It's me.
We got off to a tangent.
It's just me. It's just me. Your old friend Phil Theobald. Everybody, how's it going?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Oh,
you guys
fine.
Doing? Yeah.
I'm good. I got a new TV. Pretty happy.
That's what I've heard.
TV. That's good.
Yeah.
That's some good news.
We're gonna we're gonna finish up our spoiler cast this week on Last of Us.
Yes,
we are.
Yeah. So,
spoiler alert. We all finished the game.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So
yeah,
CJ in record time.
I know, right?
I was the first to finish the game.
How what was your timer count at the end?
Oh, I don't remember. It was probably around 20 hours.
Jesus.
Just 20?
You know what I was at?
Maybe more. I
probably
don't know.
closer to me.
34.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah. I was only at about 30.
I'm gonna have to look now.
I was at about 30 for mine. So
I would love to see your stats, like what you missed, because you can do that.
Oh.
You can see that.
You can look at your stats. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
because I missed a lot, and I was trying to be pretty thorough.
I missed a pretty fair amount as well. To my surprise, though, the workbenches. You know the workbenches in the game where you upgrade your guns. I missed one.
I didn't check that. I was checking.
I didn't check that.
Really?
And I
definitely missed one because I didn't
save.
get the trophy for that.
Right. Yeah, I missed one, but only one. And I'm not going to say.
Let's talk about that later.
But
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
We'll
during
talk
our
about some
spoiler-filled sections.
Video game news.
Yeah.
So Sega is bringing out another little mini console.
Sega wins the mini console war
for
City.
For as great as the Genesis Mini was,
and
as just rock stupid as the Game Gear Micro was.
Yeah.
Boy, did they bring it right back up, didn't they?
Except that M2 is not involved in this one.
What?
Who cares?
Yeah, this is a Sega Toys thing, and apparently M2 is not involved in the emulation. So
but
that puts a bit of a question mark on it for me.
Is Sega doing it themselves?
I would assume.
I mean, it's not like at games
not at
or
games,
some
is it?
nonsense, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
don't
no.
care then.
I hope not. Remember
mean-
when At Games
So,
was involved in the
did we
Genesis
say-
Mini
did
for
we
a
say
very
what
short
this is?
time?
I do.
Did we say what this is?
We haven't said what it is yet.
I thought I said it and then was talked over.
We were talking over you.
Astro City Mini is
Astro City
is
Mini.
a tiny arcade cabinet that has some classic Sega arcade games inside, and those include
CJ,
Alien Syndrome,
CJ,
Alien Storm. Yeah,
before you go through the list, what is Astro City? Tell the folks at home what Astro City is.
It's an arcade machine.
It's an arcade cabinet that is a set up. It has a very distinctive look, and it's used in Japanese arcades, not something you would typically see in U.S. arcades.
Right.
But it's sort of the standard arcade silhouette that you would see in Japan.
Yes. Okay. There we go. I just figured people.
They're beautiful machines.
Maybe people don't know. Yeah, they look
Beautiful
great.
machines.
They
They
look
do
great.
look great. Absolutely. So included in this,
Mhm.
there's going to be 36 games total,
Yes.
and they have revealed a few so far. So Alien Syndrome, Alien Storm, Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder,
Yeah.
Columns 2, Dark Edge, Puzzle and Action Tant R, Virtua Fighter, Fantasy Zone, and Altered Beast.
And this time, when they say it's got Virtua Fighter in it, it's not the
Yeah.
crappy Genesis game.
No, it's the arcade game.
it's the
the
real
arcade
Virtua
game.
Fighter. Yeah.
And this thing will set you back about $120
Mm-hmm.
converted, and it does not appear that this is being announced for a Western release at this time, but
Yes.
but yeah, it does
Can't
have an
wait to-
HDMI out and 2 USB-A ports, a micro USB port, headphone jack, and it has its own display. It's actually mocked up like a little Astro City
Well, it looks kind of like the
machine.
Neo Geo Mini.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
much
where
so.
It's, where it's like an actual functional tiny arcade machine, but you can also output it to a TV.
With these
And it
sort
looks like
of,
they're selling controllers too.
They are
well,
selling
it-
controllers.
I would hope so, because man, the control looks kind of cramped on the machine.
No, they
itself.
have. They have. I mean, the controller that they are selling looks
like a
like.
gamepad.
Yeah, it looks like a little gamepad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already
Already
have one on
pre-ordered?
order from Amazon Japan.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll probably do it next
Surprising.
month.
Nobody.
And actually, let's see here.
36
Comes out
games though. That's quite a
End of
lot.
the year. Yeah.
Control pad. Can I?
I mean,
pre-order?
It's great. It's great. I'm really happy to see it. Obviously, one of the things that, for as good as Sega's been at sort of re-releasing their Genesis library over and over again, and starting to reach beyond the usual suspects
Yeah.
in that field, the arcade side, which they've got a rich arcade history, obviously,
Yeah.
they don't seem to touch on as much. So this is really, really nice to see. I still would love to get to the point where we're getting like a Model 2 collection or something.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
But,
That would be
you know,
cool.
or honestly, just collections for each board. You could go back pretty far, at least to the Superscaler games, but still,
Yeah.
this is something, and really exciting to see. Hopefully the emulation is good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But super excited to
Oh, yeah.
get one myself for sure.
You know what's weird is going on Amazon Japan. As we've discussed on here before, Amazon Japan will ship most things that they sell to the US. That's certainly how I got my TurboGrafx Mini and my PC Engine Mini and various other games and toys and stuff like that. You can order the Astro City Mini from Amazon and it'll ship to the US. For some reason, the controller will not.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why. So hopefully they change that at some point, because
That would
I
be
certainly do
good.
want a real controller.
Second controller would be nice in general.
Well, I want an actual controller just so I can sit on the couch and
Yeah.
Sure.
have the thing on the shelf. But
Hmm.
yeah, can't wait. Very
Yeah, pretty
excited
cool.
to see what the other 26 games that they have to reveal are.
Yeah. You think they're gonna have Arcade Moonwalker in that?
I
No.
absolutely do not.
I do not
I can't see
either.
that happening.
Don't see it happening now.
It's great that we're getting Revenge of a Death Adder though.
That's the one that's got a lot of people excited, obviously.
Because that's the arcade Golden Axe 2, correct?
Mhm.
Which was never ported to any home system.
As far as I know.
What's that?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been in any home system release. They are. It's going to be in one of the upcoming arcade 1-up machines.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, it never got a console release or anything, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
actually,
excited.
yeah, I was going to say it'd be really interesting if Seiko's partnering with Arcade 1-Up for this and would do the Astro City in the US through Arcade 1-Up. That'd be pretty fun. But
would they do it as a mini?
To spend on that.
Yeah, would they do it as a mini or would they do it as a one of their kind of, what is it, 2/3 scale?
I'll tell you, if they were to do a scale version of the
Astro City,
I would have to consider it.
Certainly.
Oh
certainly. Man. Speaking in retro game news, we got another announcement for some more retro titles hitting the Nintendo Switch Online service next. Actually, this week. Yeah, this week they hit. It's Donkey Kong Country, Natsume Championship Wrestling for the Super Nintendo, and The Immortal for the NES.
What an interesting choice for the NES.
Yeah. The Immortal.
Although have you ever played The Immortal?
I played it on Genesis.
That's one that people really like, though. It's like a cult hit, right?
I think people are going to, and I think people will play it and not like it.
Really?
It's really good. I love it. It's definitely a game that I really enjoy. And the first time I played it was the NES version, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things where back.
That was a late NES game, right?
You do, you go do trade-ins and everything. There was a store I used to go to that did trade-ins, and I had some games to get rid of. And you go and look on the shelf, and it's like, oh, The Immortal. I've never heard of that. Pictures look pretty cool. Big dragon on the back.
Right.
So I got it.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it. But yeah, like it's one of those, it's a lot of that game is contextual. So like you'll be walking around and you'll fall into a pit, and there's a really sort of intricate way to get out of the pit, but you have about 3 seconds to do it or you die.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of stuff like that. Or you walk around a room and like a worm, like a sandworm from Dune would pop out of the floor and eat you. And like, you don't know why it happened, and you're not sure how to keep it from happening. So it really, figuring it out back in the day was rough, but it was very much from that era of PC games where, you know, it's like, okay, go figure it out.
Right.
And we're not going to help you. And, you know, so, but still an interesting game. And, you know, if you're going to get to play it for free anyway, why not?
Yeah,
exactly.
Although, man, the Genesis version is, I mean, you would expect that, obviously, but
sure.
The Genesis version is so much better.
Yes, indeed. And Donkey Kong Country coming back.
Yeah.
At the time, though, DKC was an
pretty
impressive looking.
It looked
game.
Nice. It has a great soundtrack.
Yeah,
it has a great soundtrack.
Can't deny that.
I enjoyed that game for what it was back in the day. I mean,
really?
You know, it's pretty standard platforming stuff. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not special.
Yeah.
You know, the whole gimmick was my biggest thing with it too is that the gimmick, which was the pre-rendered visuals, have not aged well for new like you put that on a modern television.
Oh yeah,
doesn't look good at all.
No.
Yeah, but you put it on an old CRT,
looks fine.
Pretty damn nice.
It's made to be seen on a CRT where it's kind of blurry and
that's for sure.
You're not getting every single pixel sharply defined.
You're not getting the razor sharp steps down up the side of Donkey Kong's head. Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah,
but well,
yeah. So Xbox has announced that they're doing their game showcase on the 23rd of this month. So the Xbox Game Showcase, we'll see first party stuff from Microsoft for the Xbox Series X on July 23rd, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Can they show anything that's going to be as exciting as what we saw for PlayStation 5 a couple weeks ago?
That's a good question.
That was a pretty nice showcase.
That was a great showcase for sure. They showed a lot of heavy hitters, although not all of those are obviously coming at launch. Those may be coming after, but But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Obviously, we're going to see some Halo Infinite. I imagine we'll see some more Everwild from Rare.
Sure.
Forza, possibly. Fable
almost
is
always
rumored.
Forza.
So yeah, it'll be it's gonna be interesting to see what they got for sure, especially compared to what Sony showed a few weeks ago. Did you guys watch the Ubisoft Forward presentation today at all? Well, you didn't miss it really that much.
New Assassin's Creed?
They did show gameplay, about a half hour of gameplay of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it looks great.
Sail around a lot in that CJ.
I know.
You get your crew to sing sea shanties and
Yep.
I was only interested in one game that Ubisoft would be showing, and I don't know. I guess they didn't. It didn't.
Scott Pilgrim.
Quick! Oh my goodness! There we go.
Yeah, I mean the only thing they showed that hadn't been previously announced, at least for consoles and PC anyway, was Far Cry 6, which leaked like a few days before.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was surprised they didn't show anything from Gods and Monsters, which is a game they debuted last year that looked really cool, sort of a Ubisoft take on Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't show any of that. And then Skull and Bones has been gone for like 2 years. That's Ubisoft's pirating game, which I played at E3. I got to play at E3 2 years ago.
Were you the one that caused the trouble at E3 when you were standing there just like yelling that it wasn't as good as Sea of Thieves?
No.
Does sound like you.
No.
Spray painted Sea of Thieves for life over all the screens?
I don't think so.
This is as good as Sea of Thieves.
That's not how I remember it.
You ripped off Rare.
That's not how I remember it at all.
Kirsten Dunst. I'll tell her how it's not as good.
Sony showed us the first look of PS5 box art.
Yeah, it's too bad, huh?
It's like a blue box with a PS5 logo on it.
It's just like the PS4 box art, except PS5 at the top in black and white.
Big white bar.
Unless we were supposed to take away from that all games are going to have Spider-Man on them somewhere.
Yeah. Well, then what is it? Gearbox Publishing put out the Godfall box art that is also PS5. It's like, remember this game from the showcase?
No,
exactly.
We do not. Nobody does.
Nobody does. All right. And I think we can move on to what you've been playing at this point.
You're not gonna talk about any of the limited run stuff?
Yeah, Limited Run had their showcase. Why don't you bring us up to speed there, Phil, since you watched it?
Oh, geez. Wish I had something prepared. No, Limited Run had their
virtual
showcase
E3 showcase.
Here's what we have coming up for the rest of the year.
What was your most anticipated thing, or what were the highlights?
Let me see.
You don't have to go through everything, obviously.
No, I'm not going to go through everything because there's a lot of stuff that I don't care about. They're doing a physical version of the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, which is kind of cool for collectors looking to add that to their shelves. This past week, tangentially related to Castlevania, the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 just came out digitally. And Limited Run did a physical version of the first game, so of course they're doing a second one to nobody's surprise.
Yeah.
And they've obviously been chatting a lot with Way Forward, because they are doing the that Mummy game,
the Mummy Demastered.
Yes, which was I haven't played that game, but it's apparently pretty good. But it's based on that crappy Tom Cruise movie that nobody remembers.
Yep.
But that's getting a physical release for some reason.
Wait,
that's probably good.
Was that a joke? Tom Cruise movie?
Huh?
Was there Tom Cruise Mummy movie? No, I'm being serious.
Correct.
Do you not remember that?
No.
That was Universal. That was their aborted cinematic universe. They were trying to.
Yeah.
Universal was trying to create a cinematic universe based around like their old monster movies.
Yeah.
There was
I don't remember this at all.
I think it was just called The Mummy.
Yes.
But there was a film called The Mummy.
Yes.
Wasn't there?
Well, the old Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. That's
there was the old. What was it Karloff?
Okay.
Was in the original Mummy?
Yeah. I mean, I know the Universal monster.
Right. And then there was the Brendan Fraser mummy, which I enjoyed back in I don't remember anything about it. But I remember enjoying it back in the day.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I remember there was the really bad CG rock in the sequel.
The sequel.
Dwayne Johnson, not a mineral. Not that kind of rock.
Although the minerals probably didn't look good either.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
But no, there was a Tom Cruise movie called The Mummy a couple years ago, and it was supposed to be
when you
like
said that nobody remembers, you're absolutely right. I do not remember that.
It was from like 2017 because it came out on Switch, right?
Yeah, and Way Forward did like a kind of Castlevania style game based on that movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is actually probably good that it's getting a physical version because it is a movie licensed title. And,
yeah, that's true.
Is possible that it could disappear from digital storefronts.
That is also that's a good point.
Can't have that.
Yeah, geez, maybe I'll pick it up now. I didn't even
Mr. Scott Pilgrim.
I know, right?
That's a Universal movie as well, isn't it?
10-year anniversary of that film in August.
Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
It's the anniversary's in August anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's 10 years.
They're doing a physical release of Shantae Risky's Revenge, which was one of the old portable Shantae games.
Yeah.
But the really wild one, the real crazy one is the original Shantae. The old Game Boy Color Shantae game is getting ported to Switch, and it is going to get a physical release on Switch. But also they're doing Game Boy Color carts.
That's awesome.
They are re-releasing the original Shantae as a Game Boy Color game, which is
very cool.
Crazy. And I mean, it's great. And this is the game. I have my copy and it's like
me too.
Perfect mint condition.
Same.
A mint copy. Like mint in box copy of the original Game Boy Color Shantae is knocking on $2,000 these days.
That's insane.
It really is. I mean, it's a great game, but
sure, but that's nuts.
But I'm assuming
because nobody bought it back in the day, despite it being
well, nobody bought it back in the day because it came out for Game Boy Color a year after the Game Boy Advance was on the market.
Yeah.
So of course nobody bought it. Because everyone was buying Game Boy Advance games.
That's right.
So now people can play it on their original hardware if you still have a Game Boy Color floating around, which is great.
It's pretty cool.
It's absolutely cool. I'm very excited about that. But they're also doing there was another Way Forward game for Game Boy Color called Extreme Sports. And extreme spelled with just an X.
Of course.
That they are releasing on Switch, and they're doing Game Boy Color carts for that as well.
Cool.
So, and I played that back in the day a bit. I don't remember much of it, but I seem to remember it being pretty good.
Cool.
So, but yeah, the Game Boy Color re-release of Shantae is the real big takeaway, I think, from that. So
I would say so.
Yeah. Now, if you want to add that to your collection, you don't need to spend a couple grand to do so.
There you go.
Same.
Yeah. But there it is.
Alrighty. Should we do some what you've been playing?
What have we been playing?
Greg, you want to kick us off? Obviously, we're going to do Last of Us 2 later.
Yeah. So finish Last of Us 2. We'll talk about that later. But so F1 2020 came out this week, which of course that series has been sitting in my top 5 list every year for the last, I don't know how many years at this point. And it's better than last year. I'm always so supremely impressed how and I've only played it for about 6 hours or so at this point, but how Codemasters manages to keep that feeling fresh every year and improving it. Generally, they haven't added anything that has made the experience worse. However, they have absolutely added soft currency and Fortnite-esque dances and cosmetic loot to this game, which only really affects, I think, the online side of things. And it is cosmetic. And when I'm saying dances, I mean like, so if you place the top 3 in an F1 race in real life, which none of us are going to do, nobody on this podcast at least, they have a podium ceremony at the end of the race. And so what they've done is now you can buy the animations that they'll do when they walk out to the podium if you win the race. And of course they're wacky dance type animations
naturally
like you would get in Fortnite. And there's just, if you go on to the digital storefronts, you'll find packs of pit coins to buy. To buy these things if you want to use real money. Otherwise, you earn coins and experience just by playing. And so playing in the single player mode, really the only effect that's had is when I finish a race or some kind of session, I have to sit through a screen where it counts up my points and tells me what I could possibly unlock, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But, you know, it's still a really good game. Everything else that they've added this year, the physics feel even better this year. They feel a little more realistic. The cars feel like they break away a little easier when they should, which is nice. They've really fixed up, because the cars are hybrid engines, you have electric power that you can use to boost your horsepower at various points in a lap. And the way it is the battery actually, you can set it to recharge, and then you can use a certain amount of boost every lap. So if you ever watch a real F1 race, and I know you guys don't, but you see the drivers constantly fiddling with the steering wheels when they're going down straightaways. And what they're generally doing there is setting brake bias and this ERS to different settings. So that's been in the game for a while because it's been in the series for a while. But it used to be a menu that you had to bring up with a separate button, and then there were like 5 different settings that you had to scroll through while you were driving. And it's to the point that I never wanted to use it manually because it's just something else that you have to mess with during the race. However, this year they really simplified it, and that's the reason I'm bringing it up, because anyone who's ever played this will know that this is a thing. They've really simplified it where they've turned it into a 1-button activation. So if you press X, it activates level 3, which is like an overtake setting, and if you press it again, it turns it off completely, so you can actually harvest energy. So it has really simplified that element of it, which I'm thankful for, because it's always bothered me that I have access to it, but I don't really want to use it. But it really is an integral part of driving these cars. So they've made it simple to use for somebody who's not an F1 driver, who's not used to fiddling with 12 different buttons as they fly down a straightaway at 200 miles an hour. So yeah, but either way, so I played a few races. They've got also the big thing is My Team. Now you can, where you're not just signing contracts to join an existing team, you can actually build your own team. So it's there's kind of a fantasy manager aspect to it as well, which I've gone for a couple of races now. Really, really liking how that works. It's super user friendly, but it gives you a ton of options and sponsorship signings and signing drivers and all that stuff that I'm really enjoying. So they've really killed it again this year. So I'm really happy with what I've played so far. And I'm playing with the wheel this year, which is nice too. And a workout. Holy God. Who knew driving cars that fast would be that much work for even 15 laps? But yeah, it's awesome. I'm really digging it. So
good. Cool.
That's it. That's all I've really been playing outside
Phil,
of Last of Us 2.
Did you have anything that wasn't Last of Us 2?
Not really. I did pick up that the Bloodstained
Curse of the Moon
2, but I've only played like the first stage of it so far.
Yeah.
So
based on that, you give it a
I mean, I'm set to review it for EGM. I probably have played a little too much for an EGM review of it. You know what? I'm going to give it a 8.5. Let's just say that. That's a nice safe, good but not too good.
You're wrong. 7.5 is the safe.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
8.5 is award worthy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
okay.
true. That's true.
How about 8? Is 8 silver?
8 is
silver.
Yeah, 8 is still silver.
7.5 is the safe. 7.5 is I'm not sure it deserves an award, but it doesn't suck.
You know what?
Right.
You know what? Based on the last 2 games in the series, both I enjoyed both Curse of the Moon 1, and I enjoyed Bloodstained, the Ritual of the Night or whatever it is. Based on Iga, being a noted game designer. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8. Just
So
yeah.
I played a little bit of this.
Uh-huh.
I don't agree with your 8. You sell out.
We're not supposed to discuss
I
the
don't know what to-
scores until
I don't know what to think about it because it didn't come with a
Text is
review
written.
guide or back of the box pictures. So I don't know what. It's got multiplayer. Did the first
Yeah.
game have multiplayer?
I do not recall.
I don't think so.
Don't think it
I
did.
think it
So
was
it's
new in this version.
simultaneous multiplayer. It's interesting.
Okay, that's
My son and I
cool.
were playing it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Too far, but
Is it couch only or
I didn't see an option to go online.
okay?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So does that raise your score?
Well, I haven't played enough to know. CJ was the one who would review games based on 10 minutes.
Oh, I know.
No.
I absolutely
No,
know.
that is not.
I was the one-time reviews editor. I had to hold myself to a little bit higher standard. I had to go at least 3 levels into a game before I would
Understandable.
pass judgment.
right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you end up giving those.
CJ was just the news guy. He
Yeah.
didn't know.
Nobody listens to him.
That's true.
He was sitting
Yeah.
over there making up rumors for Quarterman. He was,
Yeah.
Not making up rumors.
I understand that there's a new Bionic Commando in the works. Maybe this will get made now.
That did happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That did happen.
Of course it did.
I
I absolutely know it did.
the same with Ninja Gaiden, actually.
Oh, really?
I
Did you
think,
will a new Ninja Gaiden
Yeah,
into
I
existence?
think in the Quarterman column over the course of the time that I was writing it, and over the course of the time I was at EGM, because I wasn't the
Yeah.
only person writing it at that
Right.
time. John Davison also wrote it for the
Okay.
time. I think there were a couple times where we put a rumor in for a game that we
That you
wanted
just
to
wanted.
will into existence. Yeah.
You can tell the ones CJ wrote because it's always talking about. I have heard rumors that Konami
Yeah.
is bringing over Tokimeki Memorial.
Nope.
Get your
No. I am proud to
waifu
say I
plans. Yeah.
never wrote that.
Okay.
in the magazine.
Okay.
Never wrote it.
Yeah, like I said, I just played the first stage. You unlock, at the end of that stage, you unlock the second playable character. There's what, four playable characters, which I think was the case in the first one as well, where you can swap between them. They have different abilities and weapons and such. So I've unlocked the second character who she has like a big spear.
that's as far as we got.
Yeah, I don't know her. It's bloodstained. I don't know any of the characters'
Can I ask
names.
you,
I don't know anything
So
of the
you got it on
story.
Switch, right?
Yes,
Did you play it on your TV?
I did.
Did you notice when especially in the latter part of the first stage, when there's that like really a lot of brick in the background, when it scrolled, did it look weird to you? Did it look?
It did not.
It looked like the sort of pixel shimmer, like in older games when you upscale them. Sometimes that happens.
Now,
where
granted,
it's shimmering when it's.
I'm not playing on some highfalutin 4K TV
I'm wondering if that's actually the problem.
because I
could
did not
be.
notice anything like that.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Your new TV doesn't actually play games well.
Yeah,
Well, I kept the
other
old one.
thing
I'll just put that one back on the wall.
the thing to check with your 4K television is some televisions will take a signal that is not 4K and try to upscale it.
I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
Oh, really?
So turn that off if you can.
Yeah, I
for
haven't
your
tuned
Switch
it yet.
input.
Somebody
Yeah.
sent me a link to tune this TV, and I have to look at that.
Did you turn off the motion smoothing yet?
Oh God, yeah.
That goes off.
I didn't even watch anything before I went and found that
Oh,
setting and turned it
man.
on.
What a thing.
Yeah,
I can't believe that's
my
still
mother
the-
leaves that on her TV, and
Everyone's
you
mother leaves
do.
that on their TV.
it's really just a mom setting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible.
Oh, man. But no, it seemed good. Seemed really good from what I mean, the level I played so far, but I really enjoyed the first Curse of the Moon. So
Oh yeah, it was great.
yeah. So
Cool.
I'm really looking forward to playing through this one as well. So I just
All right.
haven't had the time, and I'll be honest, Last of Us kind of wore me out on games for a little bit. I was like, I kind of need
Really?
to take a break from video games for a bit. I mean, I played a little Mr. Driller this week.
You have
certainly.
to have a palate cleanser.
Exactly. Finn and I were playing some Mr. Driller. Boy, he's gotten into that, by the way.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, well,
He's been indoctrinated.
I know. Well, that's just it. he's having a blast with that game. That also has some multiplayer. So he and
Yes,
I
it does.
we're playing that together as well. They have like little race modes where you know the two of you are drilling down trying to reach the bottom first and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's
doesn't it have like 4-player multiplayer?
yes,
Yeah,
possibly.
Sure.
I don't know. I've only played it 2 players.
Oh, okay.
Simultaneously so far. So
I see.
but yeah, that's I still gotta throw Iron Man VR in and start playing that now that I finished up who's it's called. So
Last of Us.
that's the one.
That's the one.
But yeah. But that's really about all I've played. How about you, Christopher?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Phil.
Yeah.
Because I obviously played The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I also played a game called Risk of Rain 2. So this was on sale during the Steam summer sale.
Is this an old game?
No.
What am I thinking of?
Or at least Risk of Rain 2, I think, came out like a year or 2 ago. So not old. But the first game is like a side-scrolling, it's a roguelite.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a roguelike. What's the difference between roguelike and roguelite?
It's
a roguelike, I believe.
Roguelike is when you're talking like your dungeon exploring kind of like mystery dungeon style. Okay,
maybe it's not a roguelike, but it's
a rogue
similar to that.
Is it like a platformer that has roguelite?
Yes.
Like your Rogue Legacy or your Spelunkies.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
The first game is like a 2D side-scrolling game.
Okay.
Then Risk of Rain 2 is a third-person 3D game where you're basically going from sort of planet environment to planet environment, killing monsters and getting loot and buffs for your character and your weapon and such.
Okay.
And you explore these procedurally generated environments, killing enemies, leveling up your character, getting various boosts, and then you activate a teleportal to go to the next stage. But before you can go to the next stage, you have to kill a boss and then also power up the teleporter to get to that next level. And you can start on like a super easy difficulty, and it goes up incrementally as you get better at the game or kill more enemies. And then the last difficulty setting, it sort of has this gauge in the top right corner where it sort of scrolls as you go, and the last one is just ha 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 ha. It just keeps going all the way through. And Mike and I played it. This is a
your best friend Mike?
Multiplayer roguelite game. Yeah. Greg's best friend Mike. We played this
was my best friend. I started hanging out with you all the time.
Oh boy.
That's right. And so yeah, it's a really fun game. It reminds me a lot about PSO actually. Phantasy Star Online, which is funny because Phantasy Star Online 2 is actually out now on the PC and Xbox, and instead I'm playing Risk of Rain 2. But yeah, so each sort of game session so far has taken like 45 minutes to an hour of going through these levels. But it's really fun. You unlock new characters and abilities as you go. Some of them have like very obscure ways to unlock things, like you have to bring a certain item to this particular biome and then drop it off at this character that has a % chance of appearing in that biome. Like it's very it's like a run-based roguelike video game that you might expect to have unlockables. And it's a lot of fun though. I'm having fun with it. It's on like every platform, but not cross-play. So, but picked it up during the Steam sale and having a lot of fun with it. It was like $15, I think. So, but it's good fun, good multiplayer fun for sure. And that's all I've been playing. So, I guess we are doing tweets.
Tweet, a tweet, tweet, a tweet.
Let's do this one from hacker alias Miri, who says, not really a question, but
Well,
isn't
then
the checkpoint
get it out of
system-
here.
But isn't the checkpoint system in The Last of Us 2 great? Dying never feels bad and takes away some of the tension. Also, there are really no load times except for respawning. The way they handle you, the way you handled your spoiler cast was really well done. Well, thank you, Miri.
Oh, thanks.
Gosh.
And
Nice.
yes, I agree. That's probably one of the best checkpoint systems ever.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, you get your ammunition back if you happen to be fighting a particular character.
Also, really, really nice that if you pause the game, it tells you approximately how far back the last checkpoint was.
That it was very
Oh,
handy.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
like
nice
that a
touch.
lot.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I did do some manual saving just as a backup,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but wasn't too bad.
I would always when I was stopping for the evening, I would always manually save as well.
Yeah,
That was the only time I manually
almost
saved.
never did. I think I did that once.
that was the
Yeah.
only time I manually saved. Yeah, when I was stopping.
Yeah.
Just in case the power goes out or who knows what. My PS4 decides to reboot itself. Not that that's
When
ever
has that ever
happened.
happened?
Except it does happen if the power goes out or the connection gets cut or whatever, and then it scolds you for having not shut down the system correctly.
Rebuilds the database.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought Last of Us 2, the checkpoint system was very good.
Yep.
For
Yeah, it's great.
I agree.
Agreed.
Hacker alias Star Tropics game
Ooh.
says, if
No.
you were to revive Star Tropics, what modern game would you use as a template?
A good one.
I hope this
Anything
Twitter
but Star
account is
Tropics.
sending this question into like every podcast possible, by the way. Star Tropics game.
Is this
Hilarious.
is this like a business? Is this some like a like
Don't
some
know.
sort of campaign
Maybe.
where people are
Maybe.
is this like that starman.net but for Star Tropics?
Star Tropics. Well, you'll remember last week there was a very short window of time where
Uh-huh.
Nintendo announced their Treehouse Live thing, which
Uh-huh.
is on Paper Mario.
Mhm.
And then they said at the end of that, they were going to reveal a new franchise that Way
Oh, right.
Forward has been working on. And
That is-
immediately everyone began speculating on what Nintendo franchise that might be. And of
Right.
course, Star Tropics came up in that discussion.
Really?
There are
I
people
only
who really love Star Tropics.
There are. It's weird.
I only saw Metroid and Wario
I definitely saw Star Tropics.
and Star Tropics, and then of course Nintendo had to come out and say
It's not a Nintendo.
It's a third party one. Everybody,
It's a third party franchise.
relax. It's third
Yeah.
party. Chill out. And then of course it was Bakugan.
And then it was Bakugan.
Then it was
Yeah.
Bakugan, and the internet got very angry because the
For
internet
no reason.
the internet convinced itself we were getting a new Metroid game.
Yeah.
And
For some reason.
when it was not a
Yeah.
new Metroid game, suddenly that's Nintendo's fault.
That's right.
But you know what? I mentioned this on the Twitter's BT Dubs.
Mhm.
Finn just kind of randomly ended up getting into Bakugan like in the past couple weeks because like it's one of those things where it's like a couple of his friends got into it and then
Sure.
it spreads. And I've talked with some of my teacher friends and they're just like, oh yeah, like every kid in my class was super into Bakugan. It's like,
Okay.
apparently there's a big Bakugan thing going on with the kids that we are unaware of.
Well, Nintendo's got its
Apparently.
finger on the pulse.
So
Well, really, it's Way Forward and WB Games and Spin
Yeah,
Master
whatever.
Toys.
yeah.
But if you want to get
Yeah.
specific with
Apparently
it.
the kids love the Bakugans. So
Yeah.
yeah, I showed the video to Finn and he was very excited about it. So
yeah.
he's very much looking forward to the new Bakugan Switch game.
Yeah, you should tell the internet. Actually,
Oh,
don't
I
do
did.
that.
I absolutely did. I went on
Oh.
Twitter and said my kid's looking forward to Bakugan. They got one sale at
They
least.
got one sale out of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Star Tropics, what game would you use as a template?
Maybe that new Bakugan game.
I didn't.
Link's
I
Awakening.
Oh.
Hmm.
I didn't like Star Tropics back in the day.
No. And
And
remember
I
that was
played
one of
it-
was that our first game club?
That was a game club game, and I didn't like it then either.
No, it was not. It's not a good game. it could have been good. It was close to being good.
Yeah.
It was just all the gameplay that sort of kept it away from that.
Sure.
I mean, it would be easy to do a good. I think it would be easy to do a good Star Tropics game.
A good Star Tropics game.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the setting is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the character.
Hawaii,
huh?
Like a tropical island.
Oh, Hawaii.
I
thought you were like, that game is so kawaii.
Kawaii.
Yeah.
I often say that.
I know you do. I know you like to throw random.
That's
Japanese
really my
words.
catchphrase on this podcast. Can't stop saying it.
Oh man, you're one of those anime nerds from the 90s who would throw a random Japanese word into the middle of your sentence.
According to Keikaku.
Yeah, to prove
I was
that
calling
you are
everybody baka.
Exactly. You like Star Tropics? Baka.
Jeez.
Baka.
You're so baka.
Hey, Chris. Nani? Oh, here he goes again. You can just say what or huh, Chris.
I did not do that back. To be clear, I was an anime fan that did not just throw random Japanese phrases.
But I bet you
into
knew someone
everyday...
who did, didn't you?
Oh, of course.
I certainly did.
Of course.
I certainly knew a couple kids who would do that.
We may know the same people. In fact,
talking about Seward. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
CJ's best friend Mike and I know somebody who used to do that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But
anyway, should we go on to the next tweet?
I'm trying to think of what like specific game.
It's taking a long time.
You could model it after. I don't know, but I mean like I think the game, like the setup, that kind of like, you know, adventure-y, almost
using a yo-yo as a weapon.
Well, you know what? Here you go. Ease.
Oh,
the recent
back
Ease
to
games.
Ease.
Yeah,
the recent Ease games. I think you could adapt that gameplay, that kind of action RPG, make it, you know, cartoonier, set it in a tropical paradise, throw a talking parrot in there. Boom, there's your Star Tropics.
There you go.
There it is.
I think that's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
As good as anything else.
True. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Zelda 2 AOL. I'm loving Curse of the Moon 2. Which series would you like to see Inti Creates reimagine next? Because of course,
number 9.
At this point, they Inti Creates worked on Mega Man 9 and 10, right?
They did.
Then they did Curse of the Moon. They did the Blaster Master
0, 1, and 0, 2.
Yeah. What do you think they should do next?
You know, actually, Greg. Oh geez, what is it? You jokingly mentioned Mighty Number 9.
I heard.
But what did you heard?
Well, isn't there some? It's what the heck is that series called?
The Gunvolt.
Gunvolt, the next Gunvolt.
Yeah. Gunvolt. I'm looking up the name. It's like Burst. A Mighty Gunvolt Burst, which is out. That game has been out for some time.
Yes.
Actually, that was another one that's getting a physical release through limited run later this year. But in that game, it's another Inti Creates game. You can play as Gunvolt, the character from that series, or you can play as Beck, the titular Mighty Number 9. And if you play as Beck, like you go through the game and like all the bosses from Mighty Number 9 are the bosses in that game. So it's kind of like a
demake.
Yeah,
they're retrofitting
a decent make.
Like an anime fan on prom night.
Oh boy!
Wait, was that a Game Fan review?
No, that was
the
Mighty
anime fan.
Number 9.
Yeah,
a cosplayer at a frat house. That's what. That was.
Whatever.
Ooh, what?
You don't remember that in the
That was a
There's
game,
a game
fan?
fan review
Oh boy.
that we talked about in one of the after shows that we put out as a bonus.
I don't know. There's
I
so
don't
much
remember. I don't
garbage
remember.
in those.
Well, I mean, that was 2 years ago then that we talked about
It
this.
was
So
2 years ago we talked about it. Don't you remember, Phil? Come on.
You've I'm assuming re-listened to it recently.
I did, yeah.
Yes.
I re-listened to
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
after
Alright.
shows that we put out.
Oh boy. And you take out all the objectionable material that we
Yeah, I
said
just
2
want
years
to
ago.
make sure that we didn't say something really
Yeah.
objectionable.
Oh man. You know what though? To answer the question for realsies,
Yeah.
I would like to see Into Creates revisit Kid Nicky, Radical Ninja.
Oh.
I
I'm
would
gonna
because
say
Hmm?
Tecmo Ninja Gaiden.
oh, that could be good too.
Do a Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, like an 8-bit style
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden. I
Yeah.
would be absolutely for Ninja Gaiden 4,
Yeah, why not?
I believe is
Do
what
it.
I'd love that.
I'd play that.
Yeah. Greg, you got one?
No. I already
Cool,
said
man. Huh?
what? No,
What?
I don't
Huh?
really have one.
You don't
No.
have one.
No. I can't think of anything.
Okay.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias, Earthbound G-Man, who says, in light of The Last of Us 2 and its success, what, in your opinion, is the best follow-up sequel of all time? Does not necessarily have to have a 2 after its name.
Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2. That's exactly what was on my list.
Mega Man 2.
Mega
Yeah.
Man 2. Come on. There you go.
Mario 2 or Mario,
Mario
3.
2.
Yeah, I mean Mario 2, also really good answer.
Yeah.
Mario 2, yes.
Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Streets of Rage 2 is another. That's a really good one. Ms.
They're all kind
Pac-Man.
of old at this point. Miss Pac-Man.
Ms. Pac-Man. I mean, was there any other Pac-Man sequel spin-offs between like the Pac-Man Plus come out before Ms. Pac-Man?
I think it did, actually.
Okay. Well, I don't care. I'm still saying Ms. Pac-Man. More modern stuff? Is there? I'm trying to think of a more modern.
Yeah, more modern stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I could see an argument made for like, Street Fighter 2.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Street
God,
Fighter
yeah.
2.
Of course.
Come on.
That
Of
is quite a
course.
leap.
I mean,
of course.
I mean,
Speaking of which, did you see Polygon is running a series of
It-
Street Fighter?
yeah.
yeah. Well, they're doing a
Pertinent.
Kickstarter for a book version of it.
Yeah, through Read Only Memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is doing that.
Matt Leone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Matt Leone stuff, but he's been working on it for years. Well, I shouldn't say he. I think it's a group of them.
Right. But I think he's kind of spearheading it, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how that turns out. I backed that.
Yeah, I probably should do the same.
I usually back everything from Read Only Memory, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
Yeah. And I mean, Matt is good people, and
Absolutely.
he does excellent work. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, going back to the question, it's like all those other games we mentioned, like Mega Man and Streets of Rage and all that. The first games were all incredible. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
original Mega Man is
But
a
then
really
the
great
sequels just
game,
ratcheted it right up.
right? But then like Street Fighter may be the best example of that because the first Street Fighter is
terrible.
garbage.
That's true.
So
It is.
It's
bad.
a trash game.
Yep.
And
It's-
Street Fighter 2 is obviously Street Fighter 2,
Yeah.
one of the most influential games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Also quite fun. So
True.
that may be the biggest improvement from original to sequel. So
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias NWR Donald, who says, is there a game that you bear a grudge against for reasons that don't have to do with its quality? I hate Super Mario Sunshine because it was the last guide I could find from Versus books before their bankruptcy.
I saw this
That's
tweet
amazing.
earlier, and I can't think of that's an amazing reason I hate a game.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm
Can't think of
sure I do.
anything.
I'm sure I do, but boy, nothing's coming to mind immediately. There's got to be some game I just do not like for some stupid reason.
See, I want to say something like Red Dead Redemption 2 because everyone loved it and I just hated it, but I would argue that it had everything to do with the quality.
Right.
I didn't think it was very well done.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, there has to be some game where I was just like, that box art is crap, so I'm never going to play it, or something stupid like that I know is stupid.
Anticipation.
Anticipation.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good
Boom.
answer.
I mean, the game's not that bad.
Well, it's not that good.
You just didn't like it because it wasn't Mega Man 2.
No, it wasn't
That's a good point.
Blaster Master, sorry, because it wasn't Blaster Master.
How long have you been
Blaster
on this show,
Master.
Greg?
Oh my
Come
god,
on.
I don't remember.
Do I need to tell this story again?
I know you're gonna embarrass us at Player One Con.
Oh
This year's the
man.
year.
Yeah.
This is finally happening.
Oh man.
No one's got
hold it
anything else
virtually.
to do, so it's our time to shine.
Virtually
Yeah.
every Sunday at 5:30 Pacific.
I mean, I dislike every game that Adult Swim's games published because
Wow.
Oh wow.
CJ was
Was
near
involved.
them. Yeah.
Right,
But I mean,
right.
that's to be expected.
Sure.
I mean, they're fine games.
Phil, you a big
certainly.
fan of anything Doug TenNapel puts out, or
Oh.
Oh. No.
there you go.
There you
Has
go.
nothing to do with quality.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh man. Although we've had this discussion before where I'm not really super big on Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
And I know
I
Greg will disagree
Loved
with me.
Earthworm Jim.
Oh, I
liked
know.
No, I don't
the
disagree
first-
with the fact that
first
you don't like
game.
it.
Yeah.
The first game is good.
Oh, I didn't like the second game at all, and I never played 64 because I know I
played
don't
64.
have
I reviewed 64. It's a
I-
terrible game.
I played through Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 back on the
Yeah.
Genesis. And I as I was playing through them, I had to kind of convince myself that I was enjoying them. Because
Really?
I loved the characters, I loved the animation, I loved the humor, but the actual gameplay I did not have fun with.
Really?
I didn't like, and this, you know what it is? It's I mean, this is kind
The
of
bubble?
the
The bubble.
it's I mean, it's kind of the whole shiny game design, which is spawned out of European game design.
You have a good point there, and I know that we constantly go back and forth about the Aladdin games, and,
Right.
and, you know, it's in partially serious, partially just trying to get each other going. But
Wait, you're taking that lightly?
You're right though, and it's kind of like if you weren't all in on the shiny style of
Right.
platformer,
Yeah,
you weren't gonna like any of them
yeah.
because
Because I
they
mean,
all played the same.
the because
Right.
it has that kind of that sensibility that European platformers have, where it's just like, here's a giant area, and there's platforms kind of haphazardly scattered everywhere. And there's no real kind of flow to the level. You end up with a lot of blind jumps. You end up with a lot of like climbing somewhere, and it's a dead end. You know, it just seems kind of scattershot
that
level
at
design.
least the first Earthworm Jim, I hope you could agree with this.
Yeah,
While that does apply, and Lion King and
yeah.
Aladdin and
Mick and Mac.
Mick and Mac,
Cool
while all that all
Spot.
does apply,
Yeah.
it's still light years beyond things like what Zool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, come
a
on.
bad UK
Yes.
platformer.
Yes.
Was.
James Pond.
Yes,
Terrible
it was.
game.
Yes,
James
yes.
Pond. Yes, like it's
yes.
It's
Earthworm.
light years beyond that, but I
Earth-
still get what you're saying.
Anything from Shiny is better than Wonder Dog.
Well, yeah, it's a great example.
I mean,
There you go.
of course
There
it
you
is. Of course it is.
Yeah.
But it's still nowhere near as good as a Japanese developed platformer.
No,
Yeah.
they're not
So
in the same. You wouldn't
yeah.
say them in the same breath as like Mario.
No, of
or
course
Sonic.
not. And I mean, like I said, I played through Earthworm Jim 1, I played through 2. And you know,
I hated to,
yeah. I mean, yeah, the music was
and
great.
I loved the first one.
The music was great, the animation, you know, the humor, I loved all of it, but I didn't really have a lot of fun playing through it. I played through it for everything except the gameplay, which I really didn't like, and which makes it so much easier for me now learning about the creator
Yeah.
of the character,
Mhm.
not Dave Perry,
Right.
not was a Broody. What was it? What was
Nick
that guy's
Broody.
name? Nick Broody. That's right. Yeah. But Doug, knowing him makes it a lot easier for me to just kind of go, yeah, I not too heartbroken. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about throwing Earthworm Jim aside.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up with this one from
Okay.
Hacker Alias, Mr. Nelson, who says,
Mhm.
if a WGN Bozo's Circus video game were made.
Christ.
I love the timing on that.
Right as I go to take a drink. We're circling back around to the Bozo show from last week.
Darn right.
I told you, by the way, that if anyone out there listening got what we were talking about with the Bozo show,
Correct.
was going to be Mr.
This-
Nelson. But go
This
ahead.
is a podcast for one, and that person is Mr.
Exactly. You're welcome, Mike.
If a WGN Bozo Circus video game were made, who
Mhm.
would you play as? Bozo, Cookie, Wizzo, Fraser Thomas, Andy, maybe even Cuddly Dudley.
Oh man, he's got riddles and jokes, but the
I
fun
don't
that he
know.
pokes is never aimed at me.
I don't know what we're
Here's the
talking
place
about.
where he lives, and the name that he gives is Cuddly Dudley. Everybody,
Wow.
Cuddly Dudley was a puppet dog who would tell corny jokes to Bozo.
Indeed.
Voiced, puppeteered, and voiced by Cookie. Actually, the guy who
Interesting.
portrayed Cookie the clown. Was also Cuddly Dudley.
I would definitely main Bozo.
Oh man,
I'm a Bozo main.
I don't know, man. Don't
A
poo poo Professor.
Bozo main.
Don't poo poo Professor Andy. You know,
I don't know about that. I don't know
Professor
about that.
Andy. He was the guy running the keyboard. He was the music man.
Okay,
for,
we're
the
leaving
later
behind
years.
our audience here.
We
don't
are. We
care.
are really.
Now, actually,
And
you know what? The answer, the true answer is none of them, because what you would be doing is playing a VR version of the grand prize game.
Oh, now that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get a motion sensing control. The grand prize game, Bozo Buckets,
Yeah.
where you have a lineup of, what is it, 6 buckets?
Yes.
6 buckets, and you have to throw a ping pong ball into the first
We just got a
one.
nani in the chat.
As well, we
Yeah.
should. You throw a ping pong ball in the first bucket, you win a prize. You throw a ping pong ball in the second bucket, you win a slightly better prize. And if you
Yeah.
can get it in all 6, I think the grand prize was a bike, if I remember
like
the
that,
Bozo
yeah,
show
yeah.
correctly. I think if you got it all the way up, you got like 5 prizes plus a bike. So yeah, you get your motion controller to measure your throw and arm.
Yeah. Definitely do it.
Get VR, so you're right there on the Bozo the Clown sound stage.
I
Oh.
assume Mr. Nelson is talking about like a Smash Brothers style
I don't
brawler.
care. I don't care what he's talking about. I'm telling you what the real game should be.
What the real game would be. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Let's sound the spoiler horn at this time. No, not that. Not that, because it cuts out your microphone when you do that.
You cut out my microphone when you shut up.
And then when I'm leveling the show,
Yeah.
you sound very quiet except for the slide whistle,
Well, good.
because it's marking that as the loudest point.
Well, should I scream
Don't
into the
do that.
microphone right
no,
now?
God, no.
Honk, honk, honk.
There it is.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Ring, ring, ring,
All right.
ring, ring, ring. Phone call, phone call.
We're gonna get into
Last of Us spoilers.
spoilers
All the
for
way up to
Last
the
of
end.
Us 2. All the way up to the end. Yeah.
Talking about the ending. Now.
Talking about the ending.
Yes.
Where do we went up
We
to?
finished at the start of day 3.
Yes, we're on
That's
day
correct.
Abby?
Start of
three.
Day 3.
Yep.
And all the way to the end.
Yep.
That's what we're going to talk
So,
about now.
All the
Hopefully,
way. to the
hopefully,
end.
Abby Day 3 wasn't a spoiler, but we sounded the spoiler alarm, so
We did.
you
we
should have been
did.
out of here by now.
Should have been gone.
Anyway, there it is.
Anyway.
Abby Day 3.
Abby
so,
Day 3.
So what
Yes.
happened?
So,
so
she
what
went
hap-
back to get the kids. Lev
Okay, yeah, she
and,
went back to
I
save
always forget her name.
Yara.
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 So
Lev.
Yara
Yara's
and Lev.
arm was not better.
No, it was
no.
bright red.
Yep.
So they went back to
Well, it was
the
Yara's fault
aquarium.
for soaking it in a big bowl of Kool-Aid all night. She
Where do,
thought
you
that would,
get, where do you get Kool-Aid in this
rather
world?
red.
huh?
Where would
You found a grocery store that had a back room that someone
Kool-Aid
had
would be
looted.
the first thing that they would loot.
Okay, it was Flavor Aid. Because ain't nobody taking the Flavor
There's
Aid.
nothing you wouldn't use that for anything but soaking your arm in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Calgon, take me away. Isn't that what it is? Soap? Anyway.
Flavor Aid?
I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
You think Flavor
what
Aid
are we
is
talking
soap?
Anyway, so Abby went back to get, because she was like, how could I have left them behind? Which is kind of what I was thinking when she did it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay,
Well,
I guess they're gonna stay here then.
Well, Abby is this is her arc.
Well,
this is her. She's
she
growing.
has a nightmare.
Yeah.
She has a little bit of a night terror about Yara and Lev.
Worth noting too that that nightmare is changing again, because of course she'd had the nightmare where she opened the door and was her father.
Right.
Because that is the actual scene.
Right.
Yep. And this time when she opened the door, Lev and Yara were hanging from a tree.
Yep.
Yes, they were.
So it's like, oh yeah, I got to go back and get them. Probably.
She's
luckily
growing a conscience.
Yeah. Luckily, the Scar Hive is 10 feet away from the home base of the aquarium.
Yeah, well,
she's in.
The Scars are not terribly thorough in their scouting of the area. They must have missed that giant building.
Giant building over there.
Yeah.
It's an aquarium. We don't have time to go look at an aquarium.
Yeah.
But
who has the time? No.
They're like, museums are boring. I don't want to look at fish. That's boring.
So you go back and get Lev and Yara and bring them back to the aquarium.
Yeah.
Where you find out that you need more medical supplies to be able to treat it. And it's gonna
we got what's compartment syndrome?
Yes.
Which basically means that Yara's arm has to be amputated.
Got to cut it off, or you
can do it
you infect the whole body.
The hard way or the worst way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, getting back to the hospital will take quite a bit of time. So Lev says, hey, there's another way that I can get you back faster.
Yes. We have our secret Seraphite bridges that we've built.
Highway in the sky.
Way up in the sky. And Abby says, how did we never notice them? And Lev brushes us off with, you guys never look up.
What's that supposed to mean?
Which seems
wolves never look up.
Which seems a pretty convenient way of
level design.
It's like
video game logic, people.
You never really nobody looked up.
Video game logic
for all these years. Okay.
I mean, Seattle, nobody could see that high anyway.
Also, it was pretty terrifying to go over that.
I'll say, so this section of the game was well, definitely my favorite as far as dialogue goes during Abby's segment of the game. Yes. The interaction between Abby and Lev was fantastic. The dialogue was great.
Yeah,
I love that we put her in a situation where she's deathly afraid of heights, obviously.
Right.
And but at the same time, Lev and her are getting to know one another, which I thought led to some hilarious moments while well, first of all, I loved every one of Abby's reactions to we're gonna go where? And then
Lev was like, we gotta climb up to the top of the skyscraper, and Abby's all like, Nani?
Which was weird. I didn't expect that.
But gotta turn on the Japanese dub.
Yeah, that's great.
She found an old VHS of Project A-ko she's been watching.
A teardrop appears right at her forehead. A cartoon teardrop.
Remember that scene where Ellie kisses Dina and the blood starts spraying out of her nose?
Spraying out of her nose.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part was when right at the end of the second bridge, I think it was right at the end of the second bridge, where Lev starts to ask Abby about her and Owen.
Yes.
And she's in the middle of trying to balance her way past the last little part, and she's like, really now?
I'm just trying to lighten the mood. I'm trying to break the tension a bit. It seemed awkward. It was pretty good.
It was great.
Yeah, that whole scene was really when I started kind of warming up to Abby as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just seeing her kind of proving to be more than just a killing machine, and sort of just having actual discussions.
Feelings.
I mean, considering that this is the character that in the very beginning of the game murdered one of the main characters, of course, like the whole point of this section has been to humanize her.
Yes.
And also, of course, there's the whole this whole section 2 is where like the worst kept secret, even if you weren't spoiled, that of course Lev is a trans character.
Right.
So when you meet the Seraphites in the first battle, as you're going up that first building, they call him Lily.
Right.
Yeah.
And which I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have this spoil, but it wasn't surprising in the least.
Right.
Just because the voice actor, it sounded like a female voice.
Right.
So, and they kept sort of, Abby still doesn't believe that they were going after them because Lev shaved his head.
Right.
Because that was the big thing, is Lev shaved his head. Right. That was the excuse they were giving. So it was kind of cool. I mean, like I said, it was pretty obvious that it was happening.
Right.
But it's an interesting road to take.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you think of the apartment? Well, first of all, the cracked, or the fact that he did not have a gas mask. So there's a bit where you go search for a gas mask, which I thought was a fun section, especially as Abby kept finding gas masks that were cracked in some way.
A couple of times with Abby. There was some other section either before or after this, can't remember which, where she was going through and trying to find a particular thing.
Yeah.
Was it the medical supplies?
That's what it was.
Yeah,
so it's the next part.
Yeah, she keeps finding the empty
The
supply
hospital
boxes.
Basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to.
Enjoyed the hunt for the mask, and then just going down that apartment building.
I loved that.
It was split in half. Absolutely loved that whole descent.
And of course that level is crawling with infected.
Yes.
Yeah.
It felt maybe I'm wrong with this, but I don't remember The Last of Us ever having, because where the apartment had been bombed, right? I mean, if you read all the notes along the way, you find out that Fedra, because it was basically a nest of infected, and Fedra decided the only way to fix the problem was to bomb it and bring the whole building down, which they failed.
Right.
But in the act of trying to do that, they gutted the building. So I don't remember an area in The Last of Us, at least in this game, where there was so much verticality.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, going up and down floors, sure, we'd already done that actually just before this, but they're still sort of compartmentalized.
Right.
But this was like, you had this huge gaping hole and you could just see floor after floor.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I loved it.
Very
and
cool.
You could hear the infected every time you did something. You could hear them react to it. And I really enjoyed that section a lot.
Yeah,
me too.
It was a pretty cool set piece.
Yeah,
for sure.
This isn't day 3, by the way. This is day 2. Pretty sure, isn't it?
No, this is day 3.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's day 2 because we still have to get back to Yara and she needs to.
No, this is absolutely day 3. Because day 3 we come back. Wait,
I didn't think about the timeline.
No anymore.
No,
wait.
We're coming back to Yara and they're gonna do the surgery. And
that's right. They chop off her arm.
This is day 2.
We're really getting the timeline.
This is day 2.
Wrong.
Okay, yeah, we are getting
day 2. I'm just
we're getting the timeline. Yeah. Okay.
Claudius Caesar there in the chat said it was day 2, and I think he's right. So
okay.
Anyway,
yeah. So we're confused.
Anyway,
Never mind.
I love that apartment.
Okay,
section.
let's start over.
Really enjoy it now. No.
Wow, got spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I really liked that section in general. It felt different.
Yeah, it did.
It did. I liked it.
Yeah.
Then you get back to the hospital and Abby says, "Hi, it's Abby." And the guys just open the doors. That's
Abby.
funny.
Hello.
Oh, it's you.
Hello. Come
Organization
in.
that clearly has hundreds of people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, again, Abby we've talked about this last week.
She's bigwig though.
She was clearly one of the top soldiers in their army. So
yeah. So she gets back to the hospital.
Yes.
And we see
And we're in
Vita
the
Girl
hospital
again.
Oh yeah,
that's right. We saw
Vita Girl
That's
and
right,
we see Nora. So those two characters, Vita Girl and Nora, were the only thing that was really like grounding me in terms of when all this was happening.
Right.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And Abby gets arrested pretty fast because I was surprised she didn't put up a fight when that happened.
Yeah,
actually, and it felt weird because there was a bit of a smash cut there where they arrest her and then suddenly she's chained to or cuffed to the railing in an elevator.
Yeah,
screaming for someone to come get her. It's like, wow, they really didn't waste any time getting to this point. Like, you kind of expected, I don't know, some kind of transition there, but there's a couple times during the end of her section that they did something like that. But anyway,
later that same day,
a few hours later. So yeah, but anyway, so she was arrested and then Nora comes along and frees her.
Yeah,
she does. And we're retreading a lot of the same ground here again, which I honestly was starting to bother me by this point.
I actually was okay with it, like seeing some of the hospital bits from a different angle with a different character. I was okay with it.
I will say though, then again, this next section as well, when you get down into the whole idea of the hospital, of course, is that it was ground zero for Seattle.
Yes.
And the lower levels they have not cleared out. And you get down there and suddenly you're playing Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Because it was effing scary down there, man.
Yeah.
Well, so especially you want to talk about environmental storytelling. Just going through the flaps. The sort of internal quarantine zone that they had set up there, and then finding out that the going in the other doors that required power, and then getting to the power and turning that on. It's just like, shit's gonna go down.
Well, and did you check that door with that gigantic thing behind it? Did you didn't see that, CJ? See, there's some foreshadowing there. So there's, of course, the ambulance, which is like, this is where you need to go, but you need power. And then right next to that is a doorway that's also locked. It needs power. And when you try to go check it, something behind it, something big makes a noise behind it.
Oh,
and
right.
Like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's foreshadowing the boss fight coming up.
The boss fight, yeah.
And wasn't there even a couple like a doorway that had clearly been kind of like ripped open or something? And doesn't Abby say
that doorway?
And she's like, what the hell?
After you turn the power on.
What the hell did this?
Yeah.
Or something, she says something
after you turn the power on. That's
okay.
What happens.
That's what. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys stumble across down in there? There's a kind of hallway. Because I mean, as you go in, there's obviously tons of fungal growth everywhere, and you'll see like piles of fungus on the ground where bodies that have just kind of grown into it, just dead bodies that have grown over and mushrooms and stuff. And there was one hallway that you can't go down, but it just looks like organic.
I don't remember.
You didn't? Did you not see? I mean, there was one little area.
That door where the boss came out of was like that.
Okay, maybe that's
you
what
couldn't go down there.
Yeah, and
you could sort of see in behind it, but you couldn't go down there.
It looked. I'm gonna try and be delicate here. It looked excessively yonic.
Okay.
Looked like a vagina. Looked like a big old.
Just say that.
Looked like a big old fungal vagina. Yeah, well, that's the term.
Okay.
That's the opposite of phallic is yonic. It's trying to be classy. Okay,
I've learned something here.
Yeah,
class up the show.
Trying to class up the show a tad.
Go change my Tinder profile.
Look like a bit. Seeking experiences of the yonic persuasion.
Oh man, so creepy. So creepy.
That'll
do it.
Put that with your fedora picture. You're gonna.
My God.
Yeah. But yeah, it just looked like big, like kind of fungal hoo-ha growing out of the wall there. It was creepy. It was creepy to see. But yeah, so you get the power back on
everything,
and
go fight a bunch of clickers.
Yeah, a bunch of monsters come out.
And
was loving my crossbow at this point.
You've opened a bunch of med kits that are empty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was loving my crossbow at this point. It was also interesting to find all the notes from the people who had been locked into quarantine area and hadn't really been told what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, now they're just mushrooms growing on beds at this point. But
yeah.
yeah, it was neat to see that. But yeah, then you go back and you see the fungal wall vagina and the blood that's being
fungal wall vagina. I'm imagining
show title.
What are you imagining?
I'm imagining a song to the tune of Funky Cold Medina.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
So
Looked
maybe
up
we
and
can
it
work
was
on
a
that.
It would go a
mother.
little something like this.
Is there, Phil? There's your job for next week. Want a full song.
Oh,
Multiple
boy.
verses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so you follow this, like, again, super obviously there's going to be a gigantic boss fight, and F that. I was so freaked out at that point.
That was a freaky boss fight.
I didn't want to do it. It was really well done.
The
Rat King.
The Rat King.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, if you go into the model viewer, that's what they called the model for that boss is called the Rat King.
Reminded me of that Symphony of the Night boss that was just the big sphere of bodies.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's all I could think of the whole time.
Also inside.
Do you now do you know what a Rat King is? Aside from a Ninja Turtle villain?
I remember the book.
Was there a book?
Yeah, it was the sequel to Shogun, I think.
Oh, really?
Read a book, guys. No, those books are old.
No. Yeah, old books are dumb.
Yeah. Who reads old books?
A Rat King, in cryptid lore, is basically it's a bunch of like sewer rats that have lived in such close corners for so long in such a confined space that their tails have become entangled and in fact grown into each other.
They become one,
forming just one giant.
Oh, okay. So it's a rat
tangle of tails with multiple kind of rat bodies.
By the way, the book I was thinking of was King Rat. It's a James Clavell.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. That's a different thing.
Different.
That's a different thing. So this is a Rat King in the sense that it is basically a bunch of like, are they clickers or?
I think they're clickers. Well, yeah, kind. Well, no,
and
they're
stalkers.
More like. Yeah, and so okay, so how did that boss fight go for you? Because, like, I mean, it was cool. The setting was great. You end up in that room that's half flooded, and you're running around in the water, and it's completely dark. And oh my god, I really want this to be over. And at least one of them broke off from the group.
Oh, really?
That's right.
So that
one breaks
you,
off.
Phil?
I don't remember it happening. Maybe it did.
It had to have, because it's basically a scripted sequence for what comes next.
I probably didn't realize that it was the one that attacked me was part of the group, because when I'm in the ambulance, the back of the ambulance kind of rips open and the thing starts, the big Rat King starts climbing in after me.
Right. Yeah.
Correct.
So that happens, and then you end up, like I said, in that room where you're fighting it.
Right.
And at one point, it's there's a cinema that happens where when it falls over at one point, one of these clickers or stalkers or whatever they are tear away from it.
Yeah.
And they actually run away, which I thought was an interesting sort of ending to that battle, because you actually kill the Rat King, but then this thing's still running around.
Right.
And it's like, oh god, I'm not done yet. And I was in rough shape at the end of that fight. So I really want to kill this thing fast.
Very, very low on ammo.
Yeah.
At the end, kind of hurting for health. It was fun though, because it was like fighting a giant piece of string cheese. You know, you're attacking the cheese, but then you can start peeling little bits of cheese off.
Well, that's why it reminded me of that boss from Symphony of the Night, because that's the whole point, is that you attack it to get to the creamy center.
Yeah, exactly. All the little bodies fly off, right?
Falling off. Yeah. So,
but so I did the same thing. I finally defeated the Rat King, and super low.
By the way, for making me look that up on Google. That's a wonderful image. I appreciate that.
Oh, what did you look up an actual Rat King?
Well, I looked Rat King up on Google, and then I saw pictures. So I was like,
I mean, they're not
a bunch of rats.
They're not fun to look at.
The tail.
No, they're gross. But and then afterwards, don't you end up encountering some other kind of monster shortly thereafter. Am I remembering that correctly? Because I seem to recall, finishing off the Rat King, being really low on resources and health, and then suddenly getting attacked by something else. And it's like, why are you throwing this kind of like little secondary boss at me?
Well, I think that's the second one that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
That is the one that, because again, when it breaks off from the group, it very clearly runs away.
Right.
So, and then when you start to make your way out of that area, it's there.
Yeah.
It's waiting for you.
Yeah.
So,
but you get the you get to your medical supplies.
Yep.
And
go back and cut off an arm.
There you go back. And there, I'm trying to remember. It just cuts back to the aquarium, right? There's no.
You still make your way out and you meet Lev again, and
like you get out of the hospital, but there's no like long.
As soon as you get into the boat, you're back.
That's right. You get the boat.
Yeah,
you get into the boat.
Yeah,
yeah.
So you're back, and Mel amputates Yara's arm.
Yep.
And then she heals pretty fast. Gotta say.
Well,
video game logic once again.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
whatever. I mean, it was a cute scene where we get to walk around the aquarium.
Oh yeah, because Lev is run off and hid.
Yeah, you get to play with Alice.
Get to play with Alice. Oh, so I have a question for you. We'll go back to this because I saw this earlier on. So when you were at the stadium, this is a while back,
right?
And you went to get Alice.
Yes.
Yeah. Was there another dog in the pen with Alice?
There was.
What about you, CJ?
I don't think so.
So, okay, this is apparently a thing.
Because you get Alice and then you play fetch with the other dog, right?
Bear. The other dog is Bear.
Yeah, that's right.
Bear is a dog that when you're playing as Ellie,
I think I shot Bear,
is a dog that can attack you. That's out there when you're fighting. And you actually do hear the character call the dog Bear.
Oh, okay.
If Ellie kills Bear, Bear is not in that scene.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I didn't kill Bear.
Wow. Interesting.
I guess I didn't either. I don't know how that happened because I was pretty sure I killed all the dogs that I found. But
I guess if I hadn't already killed like a dozen different dogs because they just kept throwing dogs at me, I guess I would feel
exactly.
We can talk about that whole.
But you just
forcing you to feel sad later.
You said before when we were in the stadium that you played fetch with the dog, and I just assumed that, and it was the same as me, where it's Bear that you're playing with,
right?
So anyway, I just read that tonight.
Okay,
that's a thing.
I did when I was playing fetch with Bear. I threw the thing like once or twice, and he retrieved it, and then I think I threw it over the fence that he was in.
That sounds like you.
And then Abby just said something like, "Oh, sorry about that, boy."
Yeah, I heard you can do that.
Yeah. So
anyway, so we're
so
back
even if I didn't kill Bear, I did
him.
Psychologically torture him,
damage him, yeah,
which is almost as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as I can get some sort of animal abuse out of it, I'm okay.
Sure.
But so
then
Lev,
the walking around the aquarium is because you're trying to find Lev.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping Yara find Lev.
And then there's the other thing too. This scene was where Mel basically came and told Abby that she's a terrible person.
Yes.
And she screws everybody that she knows. And
is this the scene where we get Lev and Yara's whole backstory?
Yes, because Yara has a bit of a monologue here where she talks about that, Lev has made the transition because he was promised as a wife to an elder.
Yeah.
And so shaved his head because he wanted to look like one of the hunters. And their mother is super devout.
Yep.
So she wouldn't understand, but they're very worried about her. And
yeah. Well, Lev is very worried about her, even though Mom is. If Lev goes back for Mom, it would very likely kill him
or turn him in.
Well, I think Yara actually says like Mom would like just strangle him right where he stood, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But
and then we find out Lev went back for Mom. So yay.
Yep.
That's
Lev
goes back that happened.
Yep. In a game full of people making great choices, here's another one. Here's another one. So now we got to go save Lev.
I was happy because the Scars have their own island.
Yes,
which
they do.
is referenced multiple times up to this point. I was happy that we went there because I was
Yes.
really happy for a change of scenery at this point.
Right.
I agree. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Really enjoy
Although
this game, but
the
I
sky
missed
bridges were a nice change of pace.
Very much.
This was also a very good
Yeah.
change of scenery.
I wish it hadn't taken that long.
Yeah.
Because with the first game was a shorter game,
Mm-hmm.
and the scenery was changing pretty frequently.
Right.
Yep.
This game, I feel like, it is the lion's share of the game is in Seattle. And we
Well,
haven't
I mean,
really left Seattle at this point, but at least it feels different.
The problem with that is the whole flashback play as a second character, because we are essentially going through a big chunk of the game twice.
Yes.
So we're stuck exploring this. You know, we go through. We spend 3 days in Seattle as Ellie. Now we got to do another 3 days as Abby, and that just leads to, boy, I'm playing through a whole lot of burnt out buildings again.
But you know what? I hear, and maybe this is what you're saying. Maybe this isn't what you're saying. Like a lot of the environments were samey, and I feel like, yeah, that's kind of true. But at least they did mix things up, like the apartment complex that you're going through that's destroyed, and
They
like,
did, but they feel like they waited until this point to start doing that.
I was okay with that. And even we can talk a little bit later just about the pacing of this game.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well paced. I thought the combat
you ran through and
scenarios
ignored everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I did not ignore everything. No, I thought it was well paced. I thought the combat scenarios were fun, and pretty varied. And I had no problem with any part.
It's weird because I kind of feel the exact opposite of that.
Really?
We can talk about that later, but yeah.
We got to get there first. So let's keep going.
Okay.
So we're going after Lev, but Owen stays behind.
Yeah.
Well, Owen wants to go.
Owen tries to go.
Abby tells him to get his priorities straight. Stay here with Mel
because of the
you two
conversation Mel and Abby and
exactly
previously. Yeah.
Because they've decided they're going to Santa Barbara.
Yes.
They think there's a Firefly outpost forming there.
Yes.
And Mel has told Abby, I'm not going if you're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, Mel is having Owen's baby. So
Abby is making that choice of you two go. And
such a soap opera.
You two need to stay here so you can get killed.
Well,
because
get
we know that's what's
straight.
We know that's
the plot.
Yeah, we know that's what's coming up. We know.
Spoiler alert: you guys aren't going to last very long.
Yeah, we know that's what's coming up because Ellie has already killed them at this location. So those two have to stay here to die while Abby and Lev are off, or Abby and Yara are off saving Lev.
Yeah.
So off to the island we go.
I really liked the island. I mean, we should accelerate here a little bit. I really like the island. Just again, because the setting's so different, because the whole point of the Seraphites is that they live off the land. So all their structures are very primitive looking.
Yeah.
Although still lots of guns around.
Yeah.
But
guns.
But they actually mentioned that too, because there's a sort of a class level issue there where Yara even mentions it, where it's like, well, the soldiers get to use modern technology. We don't.
Also interesting, as someone who lives in the Seattle area, finding out that the island that they are on is not an island that exists right now.
Is that what the whole flooding thing? Is that what they?
Yeah, because the city, there's a good chunk of Seattle is flooded, as we saw in Ellie's story. But yeah, it turns out that the island that they are on is actually because the Space Needle's
there,
which
I thought of CJ the second I saw that,
which is on that island, and Space Needle is not on an island.
On an island
currently.
I mean, unless you want to count is the North American continent as an island.
Is a lot of Seattle below sea level, or because a lot of Seattle's flooded, and I'm trying to figure that. I was trying to sort of figure that out during when I was playing the game.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Is a lot of Seattle below sea level?
But yeah, anyway. Big chunk of the city has flooded to the point where we now have a new island that contains the Space Needle and presumably the Museum of Pop Culture. So if you want to, got to head over to Seraphite territory if you want to go to Mopop these days.
Apparently,
yeah.
Anyway, I liked this section a lot again because of
Me
the
too.
different structures and sort of the different look. Also, I like the Seraphites in general. I enjoy those characters, not because they were good people in any way, but because of the whistling and
Right.
just the tactics that they use, which I loved. And so you get into that. There's one section here where this is that gigantic field, and I managed to get through there with only killing like 2 people.
Oh,
really?
really?
Yeah, I stealthed my way through the whole thing.
Really?
I stealthed my way through that, but I killed everybody.
Yeah, I did the same.
No, I kind of made the decision early on that I'm not going to try to kill everybody. And then by the time I was like, I probably should have killed everybody. I was so far in that if I started going that route, I was just going to be overrun because there's like 10 or 11 of them in there. Like there's a lot of them there.
A lot. Yeah.
So, but we managed to sneak through. I only had to take out 2 people.
Oh, wow.
Because there was just at one point I had to go through the back of a structure and there's one person standing there looking out. It's like, there's no way I can go past this person without him seeing me. So
see, after you guys shamed me for not looking through each area thoroughly, I was sure to kill everybody and then look through all floors of every building.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you get into the Call of Duty section of the game.
Call of Duty section.
Well, because the wolves are attacking and you're just in that big battle. Although I did like you get into a situation where the wolves and the Seraphites are fighting each other and you can kind of skirt around the battle. Although it seemed like it wouldn't let me do that the whole way, which I was kind of upset about.
But before that, you run into Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On the island, right?
No.
Isn't that before?
No, I'm pretty sure that's after.
Well, because
we also haven't talked about the fact that we found Lev. I kind of skipped ahead.
Oh, yeah, we found Lev.
Yeah, you find Lev, and the wolves
killed his mom.
The wolves are attacking. Yeah, Lev inadvertently killed his mom.
Yes.
Yeah, because mom was
exactly what Yara said would happen happened.
Yes. Mom was attacking Lev. He was kind of fighting back, and he knocked over mom. Mom hit the table, like hit her head or something, and whoops, now she's dead.
Video game logic.
No mom.
Yep. The wolves have initiated their attack early. They're Isaac's going for an all-out.
You're right, CJ. Isaac happens before.
Isaac happens before everything's on fire.
Yeah,
for sure. Everything gets on fire right after that scene.
Yeah. I gotta say, running. We spent all that time saving Yara's life, and then Yara gets shot.
Yeah. Yes. Yara,
God damn it.
Yara gets shot.
Yeah.
Isaac is going to kill Lev. Abby steps in between them. Hey, this kid saved my life. Let's talk about this. Isaac will have none of it. He's going to kill Lev and he's going to kill Abby to do it. But right before he can shoot Abby, Yara is
alive enough.
Uses her last dying breath to shoot Isaac. She gets riddled with bullets.
Yeah,
by Isaac's soldiers. Yeah. And Abby and Lev beat a hasty retreat. And now
yes, they do. And they hop on a horse.
Yeah, well, they
had to get there first. So that's the part I was talking about. So I really liked the idea of sort of sneaking my way through a battlefield between the wolves and the Seraphites.
Yes, that was great.
Yes. And they set it up so that it seems like you can do that, but then you get to the end of it right next to I think it's a gas station or a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
And then you see the horse with one of the soldiers or whatever hanging off one of the stirrups who's being killed. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm so proud of myself. I made it through. And it's like, oh, this is a barbed wire fence. And I have to kill everybody here.
Yeah.
Now. And I totally didn't want that to happen. Not because I worry about how many of these characters I'm killing at this point, because it's in the hundreds now anyway. But
yeah, sure.
You know, it's just like, I was so proud of myself that I made it through this battle and not been seen. And it's like, no, now I have to take everybody out.
Yep.
So, but then you do it. And you get on the horse, and there's a pretty cool, just like the Jeep scene, right? I mean, you're running through this gigantic battle. Everything's on fire. It looks pretty spectacular.
It really does. The field that you're running through too.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because you're the there's a village on fire, and you have to get to the other side of that village to reach the docks to get the boat to get back to the mainland.
Yeah.
And you're riding the horse through a burning town, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
your ammo doesn't mean anything. You're just shooting people.
Yep. You're sniping people as you go, shooting people off their horses. You cannot kill enemy horses. Is that correct?
I'm pretty
You
sure I
can
killed
shoot
some enemy
them.
horses.
Yes, you can shoot them.
Can you shoot the horses?
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah.
my aim was just bad.
they're bigger targets.
Well, I know, but I don't know if
I'm
maybe
killing
I wasn't.
dogs at this point.
Well, I certainly had no moral qualms about killing imaginary horses
right.
with imaginary bullets.
Sure.
But it seemed like I don't know if you have to shoot them multiple times or if I was just my aim was bad, which is extremely likely.
Yeah.
But
You are pretty old.
Well, I've never been good at aiming and shooting in video games of this type. But yeah. You get there,
Big boss fight.
you get
again.
through, and boy, talk about when this game dives right into stupid video game logic. How is this dude?
Oh my god.
He is the
Able?
most video gamey boss. I mean,
Yeah.
he looks like, he's got like a big goofy costume on.
I feel like this is the part of the game where it's the beginning of I don't know how to put this. Everything that happens after this is way more in service of the story than it is in service of it being a good game.
What? I don't agree.
That
with
boss
that.
fight being a perfect example.
I don't agree.
That
with
was
that.
ridiculous.
It was.
Yeah, it was a
ridiculous.
ridiculous boss fight.
That
It wasn't hard. It just went on way too long.
well, especially
because he
considering
took so much beating.
the damage you
Yes.
do to him. You're shoving hooks in him.
Yeah.
You're ripping these hooks out of his gut. Things wounds that should be spilling his intestines, he's shrugging off and just coming at you again.
And it's just so, like you believe that when it's the monsters attacking you.
Right.
But it's like every human,
But
so far, except for a couple of the big ones, like if you're shooting them or ripping their face off, it's
Right.
usually the
Yeah.
end of the line.
I mean, at
Yeah.
one point, you kind of like
Yeah,
rip
you
his
cut a
cheek,
hole.
You
Yeah, you
rip his
cut
cheek. Yeah.
and you end up like grabbing his jaw and practically ripping it off, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's just like, "Oh, that's stage 2 of me.
Yeah.
I'm ready for another round if you
Wow.
are."
Wow.
It's like, come on. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous.
It's a
But
little
anyway.
ridiculous. Yeah.
It happens.
But you beat him, yeah.
You and Lev get out of there.
Yep.
And now we're back. You get back to the aquarium and you see the aftermath of
Yep.
Ellie's been there.
Yep.
Owen and Mel are dead.
Yep.
Owen, Mel, and Alice are dead.
Oh, not Alice.
Oh, that's
Alice.
right.
I petted her.
And played fetch
Now
with her.
she's dead.
And I don't remember exactly when I petted her or which dog she was, but was she the one
Clearly
in the
left a
cage?
mark
Was
on
she
you.
the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we go back and
And Ellie,
yeah.
boy, for as battle hardened as Ellie is,
She sucks.
I'm super prepared. I'm taking every precaution and being super careful and methodical about my quest for revenge. But you know what? I'm gonna leave this map in this enemy stronghold that has
but
a big.
she was in shock at that point.
Yeah, she was in shock.
Yeah, you know
And
what?
she'd just been Jesse and Tommy had just walked in
Yeah,
to get her out of there.
no. Here's a map with a big circle on it with arrows pointing it, saying Ellie is here.
Video game logic.
She certainly murdered hundreds of people at this point, but
This did not bother me in the slightest.
this was the one moment.
Well, it's the pregnant lady.
Oh wait, this woman was pregnant? Well, now I feel bad. Those other 100 people I killed.
That's example what I'm getting at, and we'll
Yeah.
get to this in a minute. So that happened.
Yeah.
Lev and Abby go to the theater, which is,
Yep.
by the way, has been lit up this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they turned the power back on, and apparently
Power back on.
And then you go in, and then of course the scenes sync up. So she.
I'm gonna
attacks-
say this real quick. holy crap, am I glad it just did a smash cut to the theater. Oh,
Yeah,
I
that
was,
was
me
good.
too. I was getting to the point where it's like I can't go back through Seattle again.
I was
just can't do it.
I was so worried that
Yeah.
there was going to be another like 2-hour
Right.
scene of us fighting through to the theater.
So you're at the theater,
Yeah.
you get in, that whole scene happens, and we get back to the point where she shoots Jesse. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Kills Jesse.
She's about to shoot Tommy,
Mhm.
and then Ellie comes in.
Yes.
And here we are. But now, of course, you're playing as Abby.
Yes.
And so everything happens. She looks like she kills Tommy,
Yeah, it
Yep.
certainly seemed
but
like Tommy was going to be
doesn't kill
dead.
Tommy.
Yep.
No.
But we don't find that
And
out till
We don't find that out till later.
Yeah.
And then you have a boss fight where you're fighting Ellie, and I hated that.
What? I loved it. Oh my God, I loved
I
it.
did not want to do that.
No.
I loved I loved that boss fight. I thought it was such an interesting way.
It was an interesting boss fight in that we weren't fighting a tank, which was nice.
Correct.
Because that's what boss fights are in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting boss fight in that it was a smaller character who, although I didn't like that the rules changed, because how many gunshots have you taken up to this point
Right.
in the game? But
Right.
now
I
one's
don't
going to
think-
kill you every time.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Video game logic once again.
but again, so it's all about stealth, and you.
I did notice that because throughout Ellie's story, when
Mhm.
you are in that backstage area, like,
boy, this looks like a boss fight arena.
yeah, there's something's gonna happen here.
There's a lot of room in here.
This backstage really does seem to have a lot of little areas you can hide behind.
tell
and
ya.
little tight squeezes to crawl through.
As a character who's been throwing bottles to distract enemies for 2 full games now,
Yeah,
boy, does Ellie ever fall for it?
yeah. Oh, a bottle
Really?
fell over there. I better go check this
It
out.
must be her.
I
know anything
never
about
actually
Abby,
threw
it's
a
her.
bottle in that whole scene.
Really?
No.
Oh, that was how I beat her.
Yeah,
I snuck up behind her and whacked her a couple of times, or
Yeah.
punched her.
oh yeah. No,
and,
I
it was
definitely,
no problem.
I definitely threw some
I did not throw anything.
bricks and bottles for distraction.
Yeah.
Lead her around where you want her to go.
So then
Yeah.
you practically kill Ellie,
Yeah,
Yep.
and then Dina saves her, and then you decide you're going to kill Dina, especially after
Abby
you find out she's pregnant,
Yep.
practically kills Dina.
and levers her
Uh,
conscience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was okay with all that.
I was okay with
didn't-
that too.
I didn't like
Stopping
that I had
the cycle
control-
of violence.
Right. I didn't like that I had control over Abby for that fight, because I'll be honest. Yes, we spent hours where they're humanizing Abby, and she's got a
Mhm.
tragic story. She
Yeah.
also murdered Joel.
Yeah.
And
But
she
also,
dragged-
she is on the
dragged-
road to. Well, I mean,
She
as
dragged
part of the
all her
story,
friends
she's going to
into
stop
it.
the fight. Otherwise, if you played as Ellie,
Yep.
you would be fighting Abby, and then you would be incapacitated. And that, I don't know.
No, I get it. And this is what I was getting at, which is that last part was the beginning of what I felt like the game turned into, where it's like, okay, we have a very specific narrative now.
Mhm.
And I mean, they always had a specific narrative, but there was no good choice with what they wanted to do.
No good choice.
There
That's
was no
correct.
good choice for this finish.
Yeah.
I would have been happier if that boss fight was a cinematic.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I didn't want to control either side of it, because you're right. You couldn't play as Ellie, because then the
No.
ending would the ending scene would have had to play differently.
Yeah.
If you're keeping that ending scene of that fight has to be the same, no, you don't want to play Ellie because you have to lose.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I get that, but anyway,
And now, if I remember correctly, because obviously Abby's whole motivation for going after Joel
Mhm.
was that he killed her father.
That's right.
This is two women.
they're honestly both on the exact same story.
They're
arc. It's
trying.
just
They're
that-
trying. They're both trying to avenge their dead father.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their
Well,
murdered. Their murdered
father
father.
figure.
Abby avenged her dead father
Yeah.
She
at
did.
the beginning of the game.
Right. Right. But I mean, now she's just coming after Ellie.
Well, now all her
because-
friends are dead.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every single person but
Yeah.
her is now
Right.
dead in that
Right.
group.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
But Ellie has no idea that Joel murdered Abby's father, right?
right.
Okay.
Did she tell her?
I don't
She
think
must
she
have
did.
told her. I don't remember now.
I don't remember. I don't think she did.
I don't think she did either.
Because boy, it seems like a lot of.
But it wouldn't matter anyway. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. I don't think.
But I
yeah.
mean, it. You know, it seems like it could have done something. Like or Ellie could have had but Joel was not a great guy.
I guess they could have slipped that in at the end of that boss fight.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when would they have talked?
You know,
when would that information have been shared?
I don't know. While
Yeah.
they were
in that scene, that'd be about it.
Well, she was holding her at gunpoint when
that's what I mean.
When Ellie's doing the whole like, I'm the one you want. It's my fault. There's no cure.
Yeah.
And
But
Abby could have been like, I'm not here because of the cure. I'm here because your idiot dad killed my dad.
Right.
And then you had to go around and kill all my friends.
Right.
What they needed was a button you could press to just sit down and have a nice cup of tea and hash things out.
Listen to me. Okay, so here's the thing, and it's funny because Mike Phillips, former fourth chair Mike Phillips, called that out in our Discord chat where
did he?
I've said a couple times, no, well, not exactly that, but I've said a couple times during these conversations, like there was, and actually it happens again later, and I'll talk about this again, but there was a couple times so far where somebody was either begging for their life or was about to die and was cursing me out, and I wanted the option to not kill them, but then just talk to them. But anyway, CJ,
well, if they gave you that, then the game couldn't have its preachy but you did the violence and that's bad.
See, and you just said something that I totally agree with, which is going to figure heavily into the next part of our conversation, which is Abby decides to stop the cycle of violence.
Yes.
Because clearly the message in this game has been the infected don't even need to exist. I mean, this is The Walking Dead so much at this point.
I don't know if you know this.
Ridiculous. We're the real enemy.
We're the real monsters.
But clearly the message is eye for an eye doesn't work.
Right.
Like that's the whole point of the game. Eye for an eye doesn't work.
Right.
So, and Abby stops the cycle of violence after her conscience, who is Lev at this point, says, "What are you doing? You can't do that." Right. When she's going to kill Dina after she finds out Dina's pregnant. And then she just says, "I never want to see you again." And she leaves.
Yep. Yes, she does.
Yep.
And now we're back at the farmhouse.
Yep. Now we're
with Dina and Ellie.
At this point, did you think this was the end of the game?
Yes.
I did not, because you told me that there was like an extra 2 hours.
I thought I was at the end of the game.
Although, golly, I
wish it was.
Had I just hung out at the farmhouse for a bit, chatted with Dina and the baby, and then turned the game off. Hey,
fine.
We did it. We did it.
It was
And I loved that scene. I loved the whole bit in the farmhouse. And of course, I knew there was plenty more game when I got to Santa Barbara and started collecting upgrades again.
Oh God.
So it's like, okay, so the game's not done. And
but back up a little bit, because we're at the farmhouse, and it really reminded me of the ending of Uncharted 4.
Oh, really?
It did, yes. That was exactly what I thought as well.
Yeah, and it's like you're.
I never finished Uncharted 4, so
okay. Well, the end of Uncharted 4.
Yeah, spoilers.
And whatever.
Which
you
I don't
wandering
care.
around in your house with your wife and your kid and everything like that. So anyway,
I believe you play as a different character in the ending of Uncharted 4.
Yes, you do actually. But anyway, I haven't played it in a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, you want me to spoil that too?
No, because we have different spoiler warnings.
Okay, well,
but anyway,
you can spoil it for me later.
Okay.
Throw it in the chat.
Wandering around in the house, you've got the baby in your arm. Dina and Ellie are mostly happy, and it's a great scene.
You play as Ratchet?
Spoiler.
Anyway,
it's a great scene, but then
sorry.
it feels a little bit not too happy, but it doesn't feel very melancholy either. And then of course you go in there and you're asked to herd the sheep back into the barn.
New gameplay mechanic, herding sheep.
Yeah, I know. The only time it happens.
I know.
And
have you guys ever heard sheep before?
Only in video games.
Because they say "bah."
That's a good dad joke.
Thank you.
So, but then
that's an Ellie caliber joke. But go on.
I really love that Ellie is clearly suffering from PTSD.
Yes.
When you're in there and the door blows shut and everything goes dark, freaky
Mhm.
as hell.
Yes.
And then, of course, she has her flashback and she sees Joel there. And is that when you see the dance?
No.
The barn dance?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
That's
No.
later. Okay. So anyway, I thought it was a good spot. It was a good spot for the game to end.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been good with that. And then, of course, we find out Tommy's alive.
Yeah.
Which, by
But I
the
mean, sorry.
stepping back even further, I thought the house that they were in was Joel's house for a little while.
I did
first.
because it's kind of laid out.
Yeah, it's laid out like
but
Joel's
except
house,
it's
and then
not
you
but it's
have
not
to
in the
go.
town.
Right, you go outside to get the elephant toy, and
Yeah,
you're
once
like,
you go
this is
outside.
not in
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, but it was like especially the upstairs felt a lot like Joel's
It did.
house.
Yes, it
Yeah, you're
absolutely
right.
did.
Yeah. I
That's
thought
a
the
good
same
point.
thing at first too until I went outside.
That's a
I
good
was like,
point.
oh, that's cool. They live in Joel's house. That's wait, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope,
not
they're in
so
the
much.
middle of nowhere.
But yeah, so I really even liked the flashback section where she had her little nightmare there,
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
she's just sitting on the floor of the barn crying, and Dean is
Right.
there comforting her. It's like, okay, this is great. So because I thought it sent a good message where it was like, she's clearly not just everything's not just okay because the
Right.
game's over. She's broken,
Mhm.
you know, and that's awful. But
Yeah.
she's found possible happiness.
Right.
She's got a family and all that. So great. And even when, so yeah, then we find out Tommy's alive. Tommy comes back
Yep.
and he thinks he's tracked Abby.
Yes,
He's still
He's
on the
looking worse for
revenge train.
still on that train.
And we
Yep.
learn from him that that has cost him everything because he and Maria,
I think
Yes.
so.
his wife anyway, have separated.
Yes.
Also, well, yeah, you see that Tommy is a character who has lost everything.
Yeah.
Right.
His brother,
So he's a
his
cautionary tale
marriage.
completely.
He has trouble walking and seeing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now he only has one eye.
Right.
And Ellie says, no, I'm not going.
She
And
does.
he wants because he can't go,
Right.
so he wants to sick Ellie on
Right.
Abby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I liked for his character. I mean,
Mhm.
he's clearly lost everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still in a lot of pain, but he can't do it himself.
Yeah.
So he's manipulating.
Yeah.
The only other person in the world who
Yes.
feels the same way as him.
Yep.
Which I hated him for, but I
Yep.
got it. Made sense for his character.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then I think this is when we see the dance, right? So
I believe
that's
so.
the
Yeah.
dream she has
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah.
Which
is
by the way, I had been wondering when we were going to see the dance, and then I had forgotten that even was a thing. And then it
Right.
came up, and I was like,
Right.
oh shit.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, you see Joel and you see all the characters that are now
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And it's sort of all the feels because
I don't
and
know if we
it's-
needed to see that.
I think we did. I liked the fact that we saw it.
What did it add?
In part because
dance scene?
Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
What did it add
sorry,
to the
go ahead,
story?
CJ.
Because we
I'll
knew
say- I'll say
we
this,
know all
because
these. We knew all these events already.
there's two
I
things.
think it was important.
And part of it I only really learned from listening to the Kind of Funny Games cast, spoiler cast with Neil Druckmann and Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson. And apparently
Mhm.
between the time that in Salt Lake City they have that talk, Joel and Ellie, about what actually happened in Salt Lake City
Mhm.
and the dance,
Mhm.
Joel and Ellie have not been speaking to each other. There's
Right.
been nothing.
Right.
And I feel
Which
it's
she
important.
says.
Yeah, it's important in terms of just the game thread and the cinematic that's going to come later
Mhm.
to show Joel, I don't know, to show that scene. I thought it was important.
I think it's important because of what happens next, which is because to me, even not knowing that, although if you really pay attention to everything that's been said
Mhm.
up to that point in the flashback where Joel told her what happened, she was pretty clear that she didn't really want anything to do with him. after
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
But showing that dance scene, and of course they mentioned at the beginning of the game where what's his name said something to her that was incredibly hurtful, which we find out now is like that's what we need is another Dyke or something like that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And Joel jumping in to rescue her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has the exchange with Joel where she basically says, I don't need you.
Right.
You know, like you can't stop doing this. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And that's where it cuts off. And then that night she gets up and the next day she's getting ready to leave. She's decided to go after Abby. And I will say that I'm sitting here playing it and I'm saying no. Like I was yelling no at the screen. I'm like, oh my God, no, don't do this. Please don't go there. Like, please don't do this.
Right.
I don't want this for her character. I don't want the game to go this way. But at least that scene made sense because it's like you assume that was her last real interaction with Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then the next thing that happened is he gets murdered. So she never had any closure.
Right.
You assume she never had even the beginning of closure with Joel.
Right.
So that's why she makes the decision to go. And it's like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate this.
Yeah.
Like I really don't want this to happen.
I just, the flashbacks to the dance, and there's one later as well,
which pissed me off even more. But
because it's
flashback later.
Both of those scenes to me seemed unnecessary because we really didn't learn anything new. It's just we were told this information at the beginning of the game, and now we're seeing it again, and now we're just seeing it, and it's like, well, this is all stuff I know. Why am I sitting here watching this kind of superfluous scene? So I don't know.
I disagree, but I don't know why I disagree.
You just wanted to see Joel again.
I don't think
that's what it is.
I don't think it's superfluous because this one isn't, because it's a reminder. I mean, that's almost 30 hours ago.
Yeah, but
right. And we haven't really seen it, but it felt like, because
30 hours ago. And also the thing that happened at the dance is the catalyst for the flashback that comes later where Ellie is going to try to forgive Joel for what he did. Right. And then of course they were not able to, that was not able to happen.
But again, we knew that.
Right. We knew that.
But that other flashback, so we're jumping forward a little bit here, but that other flashback was actually bothered me more because I felt like showing the dance and assuming that was her final interaction with Joel before he was murdered.
Yeah.
I at least understood the reason. I understood why she chose to go to Santa Barbara and try to track down Abby again and kill her. But then that second part where they actually did begin to reconcile, I get that they didn't complete the reconciliation.
They did not.
It's just like, oh, well,
he asked for her forgiveness for the events.
She said she was going to try
the first game.
Right. And
I feel that part is the important part of that flashback. That's the important part.
But to me, that actually means that, I don't know, that actually made me dislike her decision to go to Santa Barbara even more. Yeah. Knowing that.
But I
would have disliked it less if I thought that the last time they talked was her telling him to screw off at the dance.
Because at this point in the game, and I think it starts at, well, I mean, it's building up to, I mean, the whole game is building up to this, is that Ellie is the villain.
Yeah.
The whole game is building to Ellie as the villain. And the fact that you control Abby during the fight between those two really hammers that home, that Ellie is now the villain.
I don't agree.
Abby is still the villain.
I don't agree with deciding on a villain for this game. I think the underlying message is that
did you play the end of the game?
They're both villains. The difference between Abby and Ellie is where they are at on their path, right? So Abby, long before they meet in Santa Barbara, has decided that she's done with the cycle of violence.
Right.
Ellie has not gotten to that point yet.
She hasn't gotten to that. I don't know if you actually finished the game, because
I did finish the game. Yes.
She very reluctantly,
but she does at the end, after she's lost more.
Yeah.
Decide to go her separate way.
Yeah.
See, I think that, I mean, okay. everything that happens here. So I mean, just run through what happens here gameplay wise real quick.
Yeah.
Is that
let's get to the
of
real
course we're talking about Abby and Lev now, and
Yeah.
they are in Santa Barbara looking for fireflies. They think they found some, although we're never really sure if that's true.
They are living their new life.
Yes.
Right.
Santa Barbara.
They think they found some on the radio. They go back out of this house that they are in, and
Yep.
they're attacked by yet another sadistic group of humans.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Called the rattlesnakes, the rattlers.
The rattlers. Yeah.
And then the last you see is that they've been caught, and then you're
Yep.
playing as Ellie.
Yes.
Ellie tracking them down, and of course Ellie runs afoul of the rattlers as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Um,
Which was a great. I love everything about the scene where she is in the trap and then gets,
Yeah.
when
she
you've been bit.
when she uses the clicker or whatever,
She uses the clicker to get that
to kill that
cool.
guy.
That was amazing. I loved that bit.
But then again, she disables the other dude.
Yes.
He's begging for mercy. He tells her what she wants to know.
Yeah.
But he didn't deserve mercy. That's
He didn't know.
the thing. That's kind of the point. Don't think that makes Ellie the villain here. But
Well, there's a lot
Anyway.
of stuff that makes Ellie the villain.
I
But
don't
she,
know. good
agree.
people.
I don't
Yeah.
agree.
anyway,
Don't agree.
she goes and so she knows that Abby's being held prisoner at this resort, so she makes her way there. There's a couple
Yep.
cool fights on the way. I do love that first of all, I hated the Rattlers. I hated that we added this other group at the very end
know.
of the game that
I
we don't
know.
even get to know. All we know is they're extremely sadistic.
Yep.
Yes.
And
They have clickers and infected chained up in their stronghold.
they're infecting those people.
Yeah.
Like they're actually
Right.
infecting them. Like that's the
Right.
whole point.
But did you do the thing where you let the rat?
Yeah,
let
so you
the
can let them out. So it leads to some interesting battles because you can let them
Also-
off their chains.
also-
kind of cool.
Correct me if you guys played during this last part of the game when you are infiltrating the Rattlers resort.
yeah.
That area is crawling. The path leading up to it, and especially the resort itself, are crawling with villains, with Rattlers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you play through that? Did you
killed
sneak
them all.
around and avoid people?
No.
Did
I
you
killed
sneak
everybody.
up quietly and snap necks and
Yes.
cut throats? Or did
I
you
did
just
that when possible, but there was one part where I was able to actually get climb a ladder, make some noise, and then a bunch of people just came up the ladder and I beat them off of it, killed them that way. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean, the game kind of forces you
It does force you to use weapons.
to bust
Yeah.
out the firearms at the
Yes,
end.
it does. Absolutely does.
So again, Ellie, who's not the villain, is going in guns and fire bombs ablazing
Correct. Yes.
to murder these people so that she can get to this other person who she can murder.
That's right.
Ellie is the villain.
Who
Ellie
murdered
is
her
not
father.
the villain.
The game
No,
is
there is no
scripted
villain
in
in-
such a way.
They're
There's
both
no
Nobody-
villain.
No, this game
There
has
is no hero. There is no
no hero.
villain.
this game has three characters that are good, decent people.
Which ones?
They are Yara, there is Lev, and there is Dina. Those are the three
I
good
agree with
people in this game.
I agree
Everyone
with
else
you.
in this game is varying degrees of trash, and the way
I
the game is
don't
scripted,
disagree.
I think that
Abby-
they're meant to be more tragic than villains, but yes.
Abby
Yeah,
is
tragic, not villains.
the
with that.
character arc of the two playable characters in this game is Abby she has a redemption arc.
Yeah.
And Ellie has the opposite of that.
Ellie has no redemption arc.
I
That's
agree.
correct.
I agree with what you're saying in that, and this is the reason why I hate
Right.
everything that happened after the farmhouse.
Right.
But anyway,
I
Yes.
don't hate everything that happened at the
we get there.
after the
Yes, we get
farmhouse.
there.
We get there. We get
Yeah.
down to the prison. We find out that they have been taken to the, what do they call it? The spires or
The
Spires,
pillars.
yeah.
the pillars. They've been
That's right,
taken to the
pillars.
pillars. So you go down. So I like that scene. You let out all these prisoners, and then of course it's a very Naughty Dog scene where you turn a corner and now everything where you just were is on fire, and
Right.
Yeah.
and you're going down to the beach,
And you can hear the
find-
gunshots and the rattlers
fighting.
are like, oh, the prisoners got out.
Yeah.
Get them.
So you get there, and
Yep.
I actually, again, I kind of thought, okay, I'm kind of okay with how this goes. You get there, Abby's strung up, so is
Yep.
Lev.
Yep.
Which, by the way,
dying.
was looking for Abby being strung up, and there's another female character model that's strung up that has a ponytail that I thought was Abby for a little while.
Well, I got to say that they really did a good job of making Abby look very weak.
She's clearly been out there
been
for
hulking the whole time, and you know, she's been out there for a while.
Yeah.
So then, of course, Ellie seems to instinctively cut her down.
Well, I like that moment where Abby recognizes that someone's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's like kind of just gasping, "Help me, help me." Mm-hmm. And then she sees who it is, and she just kind of says, "Oh, it's you," or something along those lines. When she recognizes it's Ellie, it's just like, it's you.
Yep.
And you cut her down.
Yeah.
And then Abby clambers over, cuts down.
She immediately cuts down Lev
and picks up Lev and starts staggering to the shore.
Yep.
And actually says to Ellie, "Come on, there are boats over here."
Yeah.
Yes.
And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I didn't like the choice that we went here, but it seems like Ellie maybe is getting her humanity back in this moment.
Yes.
And
this is the moment.
Okay. This
is where Abby has had her redemption arc.
Yes.
This is Ellie's.
This is Ellie's here.
This is Ellie's. They've set her up as the bad guy of the two.
Yeah. No. And it's a wonderfully made scene where you can see Abby in the distance carrying Lev in like the mist. Ellie trips trying to go over a small rise because she's so exhausted and she's bleeding out.
Yeah.
And there's two boats there, and the camera even follows her so beautifully where Abby's over there trying to get the boat started with her and Lev, and Ellie's getting on the boat, and then she stops.
Yep.
Yes, she does.
She's like,
I don't know if
I'm for some killing.
I can't let you go.
Let you
and
go.
Again, I'm sitting there going like, no.
And Abby,
you're right.
And
absolutely,
Abby
you should be yelling, no.
Abby, yes, because you don't want Ellie to continue down this
you don't.
Wrong.
That is correct.
Villainous path.
I'm not going to say villainous, but
and Abby is just like, I'm not going to fight you. And then, in a manner truly befitting a heroic character that we are supposed to like, Ellie goes to the child who is injured and dying and puts a knife to his throat and says, "If you don't fight me, I will murder your friend in front of you."
Have you seen the many people she has eviscerated during this game for less than that, though?
I have. But this is the moment. This is the turning point. This is when Ellie decides that, oh, maybe I should break this cycle of violence. No, I'm going to slice a child's throat.
She is not going to break the cycle of violence until it has cost her just a little bit more. So you can tell the walk down the beach, you can tell, or at least as a player, you think this is where it ends. Like this is where it's going to stop. Again. And then Ellie, through cutscene, says, "No, we're not there yet. Like we're gonna continue this one more step."
Again,
dramatic fight. I gotta say, I liked the
very dramatic fight
of the fight. What happened again, which
drowning Abby.
So before that, what happened again, which is the same thing that's happened previously, is at one point Abby is down on all fours, exhausted, beat up, and the game is waiting for you to try to attack her again.
The game gives you a button prompt that says strike.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at that moment, I'm like, I'm not going to.
I waited.
I assumed something would happen, something other than what did happen would happen if I didn't.
No.
Yes.
And I wanted that.
I did that. I waited because
and then she just gets up and keeps fighting you.
Yeah. And you knock her down again though, and she doesn't get back up. As far
I didn't know that.
The second, because I waited until Abby got back up, and yes, it forces you to knock her down again.
Yeah.
And I stood there waiting longer, and she didn't get up again. So I think the game just hangs there.
Yeah.
So you do. So you drown her.
So then you try to drown her.
You choke her. You hold her head underwater for an uncomfortably long time.
A Ryan Reynolds long time.
Yeah.
Apparently, he can hold his breath for a really long time. I read that last night.
Comes in handy.
And just watching Deadpool. And then, of course, then she does let her live. Oh, but not before she loses 2 fingers.
That's right.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
is important.
Yes,
More important than it seems at the time.
Ellie, she's fighting back, trying to prevent herself from drowning, and she bites off 2 of Ellie's fingers. Or she doesn't bite them off. She just.
Oh, I thought she bit them off.
She bites them. At the end of the fight, she still has the fingers, but they are really red. Yeah, she clearly ended up cutting them off at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, Abby did not spit out a couple fingers at any point. Yeah, she bit them and grievously wounded them, but Ellie is the one who removed them at some point later.
Not shown.
Yeah. But
Scene not appearing in this movie.
She finally snaps.
Yeah.
And stops.
Yes.
And
she has
Abby,
a flashback of Joel.
Yes.
That's the flashback where you see the final night.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So I had this discussion with CJ's best friend, Mike's best friend, Jim, last night. And he made the points like, well, she let her live because at that moment she had the flashback. And it's the first time since the first end of the game that she's had the flashback of Joel where Joel wasn't dead.
Right.
So that shows that she's recovering from her.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
You mean
but
the
I get
flashback
what he's
isn't just
saying.
a trope that's in the video game?
Yeah.
No, it absolutely is. But
Yeah.
that's what it's supposed to mean.
Right.
Was his argument. Now, I don't agree with that either, but I get that argument.
Right.
So anyway, we let her go. We let her and Lev go.
Yep.
And there's the big scene where you come back to the farmhouse, and of course, Dina and the baby are gone.
Yep. The house is cleaned out.
By the way, I probably should have. Again, this game like sets you up things that things I should have expected and then didn't when they happened. So
You didn't expect that she would be gone?
No, I did not expect.
She says she's going to be gone.
No, I did not expect it.
Keep in mind, CJ is convinced that Ellie is the hero. So Dina's waiting at home with a nice turkey dinner. The hero's return.
I specifically would not use the word hero to describe anybody in this game.
Anyway, so we get back. Dina and the baby are gone. The house is gutted, except for her stuff.
The art studio,
where all her
Ellie's
stuff is. The art
studio
and the guitar.
Yes.
And then of course you sit down to play the guitar, but of course she's missing 2 fingers that she would normally put on the neck. She plays right-handed.
She cannot play the song.
She can't play the song she wants to play, which is the ultimate tragic ending.
I could tell that not being able to play the guitar really caused her to fret.
Pretty good.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Wow.
But of course, that's her last link to Joel.
Right.
Yes.
And now it's gone.
Now it's gone.
She's lost that too.
So she lost absolutely everything.
And if you thought she was pissed in this game, now that she's lost even her connection to Joel.
Now that she's healed up.
Part 3, she's going to be hunting down Dina for leaving her.
She's probably going to get a bionic hand too.
She's going to kill Dina.
It's going to go full on like Highlander 2.
She's going to raise the baby as her own little murder buddy.
She's going to find out that Abby is on the International Space Station with the dinosaurs.
Yep.
She finally gets to go to the moon.
Yep.
She's going to get that robotic hand, and damn it, she's going to get some justice.
Oh man.
I get
Joel's brain is alive in a jar. Dina's been
in multiple pieces.
Dina's been trying to bring it back.
God.
Wow.
Did we lose Phil's audio?
Did we?
No, there you go. You're back.
He's just laughing so hard that
I'm just
flipped.
laughing. Oh man.
I get that's the whole point is that she lost everything. I totally understand that. I didn't.
You know what?
She has to hit absolute bottom.
Yeah.
And she does.
That's the end of the game.
At the pillars.
But she was. Yeah.
Yep.
I think I would have been honestly. I think if we were going to go for it, and they went for it the way that they did, I would have been less. I still would have been disappointed in the character. I would have been less disappointed in the ending if she killed Abby.
Yeah.
You would have
'cause
been
it's like-
less disappointed with
Yeah.
the ending if she'd killed Abby.
Mhm.
Really?
And apparently that was the original ending.
She was gonna kill Abby.
Yeah.
Now, see, I would have.
They changed it.
There's no.
I'm not saying that to say
I
that
would have been
would've
been
liked the
pretty
character
disappointed.
more.
I mean, I would
I
have
was disappointed already.
I would have accepted it.
I was disappointed
guess,
already.
if she killed Abby at the
If you're gonna
very
go
end.
right
But
to that point,
I would not have been satisfied with the ending if she had killed Abby. I'll just say that.
I wouldn't have been either. I would have been less dissatisfied.
They. Yeah.
And
yeah.
to be clear,
Uh-huh.
it's not like I'm like, oh my god, the ending was amazing and it was thoroughly entertaining. What a blockbuster roller coaster ride of emotions. No, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm saying that the ending was affecting in that when the credits finally rolled, I just like stared at the credits. I was like, what did I
was
just
just pissed
watch?
Yeah.
Like at the end, not pissed off, but couldn't believe that that was the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, I know what they were going for, and I think they probably achieved it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't happy about it. That's all.
Well, tying all that in, because it is getting very late. Tying
It is. We still have an after show to record.
I know, Jesus Christ.
Don't worry, it could be quick.
Let's hope.
2 questions.
The whole
Yes or no answers.
the whole thing that this game does, I'm talking about the game as a whole now,
Okay.
where they try to do that whole morality play. We've talked about this a bit before, where the game forces you into these violent situations. They force you to commit acts of violence.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you commit tons of violence. You
Sure.
are killing so many people in this game,
Yeah.
not just monsters, but actual humans. You
That
kill
have names.
but a handful of them
And
have
dogs
names.
and horses.
A handful of people have names. Like 2 dogs have names, and you
Bear
kill
and Alice.
hundreds
And Atlas.
hundreds of nameless people
Mhm.
in this game,
and
Yeah.
Shimmer.
and then you kill a person with a name,
Mhm.
and a couple hours later they say, oh, remember when you killed that person with the name back there? You're bad because of that.
No, I
Feel-
don't think so. I
feel-
don't.
Really? Really?
I
Really?
mean, the fact of the
Killing-
matter is,
when
in
you
any
kill-
video game, it could
Yeah.
be Call of Duty or whatever. Like
Uh-huh.
the reason
Final
that
Fight.
Final Fight. The reason that you accept doing that is because you don't have to accept the morality of your actions at all. Like you don't have to see the other side. You don't have to see
Right.
those people as people. You can see
Right.
them only as one particular thing. And the idea that this game is showing you the cycle of violence
Mhm.
that happens in real life,
Uh-huh.
in continual wars that were started hundreds of years ago, they're still going.
Uh-huh.
That is to me, I didn't have like, to me, showing you the name, like this is the dog you killed or whatever, like it's reinforcing that,
Right.
hey, the cycle of violence thing that continually happens in human culture as a thing, it's bad, and maybe you should think about that.
I already know killing people is bad. I've known that for a while
Okay.
now. I've known it for a while now. I learned that when I was 16. I learned it the hard way.
Jesus.
But
The mean streets of Chicagoland.
I was like, crazy kids,
Like, are
Um,
you supposed to feel bad? That
Of course you're supposed to feel
of
bad.
course you're supposed to.
Yes. Yes.
I don't.
just-
I don't take
but
it.
just
I,
But just about
personally, I do
Mel
not
and
take it as the
Owen.
game like
Yeah.
wagging a finger at me, saying,
Oh, the game
"Don't,"
is absolutely
I feel
wagging a
bad-
finger at you.
I feel bad for Dina and the baby too.
Yeah.
I
the
did
game
not
is
take it that.
absolutely
And Tommy's
wagging
wife.
fingers at you.
Tommy's
if you
ex-wife.
if you feel bad,
Yeah.
good. but I don't feel like the game was like sitting there wagging its finger at me for.
Yes, it was.
for
It
this.
absolutely was.
I mean,
It
not
absolutely.
necessarily
I didn't feel
for
that
that,
way.
but like, see, and here's the thing: when we're talking about who's the villain and who's the hero, I agree with CJ in that there are no heroes.
No heroes in this
Here.
game,
Right.
and no.
But I also
real
think
villains
that the
except
game
for the
did
Rat
an
King.
amazing. The story did an amazing job of manipulating the player to
Right.
actually start to like Abby.
Yeah.
Abby's a terrible
Yes.
person,
Of course she is.
and the thing that I think,
But she
gets
has a redemption
lost-
arc.
She's
does.
a terrible person, but
The
she
thing-
started that road to redemption, if you want to call it, after Joel is dead.
Right. The thing that I think gets lost
Yeah.
is that she got her revenge.
Yeah.
She got
did.
what Ellie spends the whole game looking for.
Right.
Yes.
And I know that's supposed to be the point. But-
Yes.
You know, like I don't know. I just didn't. I
By the
felt
way,
like
we didn't
got.
even talk about the scene where Tommy is sniping at you
Oh yeah, right.
on the road.
That was a good scene.
really fun. That was a really fun
Um,
action bit. Anyway,
Yeah, I just. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just. I got to the point in the game where I didn't like that I was playing as Abby in that first fight between her
Right.
and Ellie
Right.
because I didn't like Abby.
Right.
And I felt that
Blair
felt-
Farrell, by the way, makes a point in our chat that Abby is only a terrible person because of Joel.
sure, absolutely, which goes back to
Absolutely
the whole
correct.
cycle of violence thing.
cycle
right?
of violence.
Yep.
But I mean, she also in a way because she was so focused on finding Joel and killing him, everyone that was in that room with her when she did it is dead now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And they were there because of her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they were killed because, well, not all of them were killed because of Ellie, but
Well, no,
Yeah.
A lot of
not
them were.
only because let's take a
just
step back
one more
here.
thing,
Let's
one more
take
thing,
it
though.
one step back.
Hang
One-
on,
one-
hang on.
one-
Shut up and let me finish for a second. One more thing that I think we really need to point out here, and it actually gets mentioned in the game a little bit. It's like, yeah, Abby was a terrible person because Joel killed her father, but then she killed Joel. Then she still had no problem killing Seraphites
Well, that's true.
and murdering
Yeah.
their children and
Right.
helping
Yes.
to plan an invasion. And
Right.
like, so she wasn't magically a good person. And here's
Right.
a
No, of
redemption
course
arc.
not. No.
You know, like
No.
she didn't even treat Seraphites as human until they saved her life.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
So
One thing I want to rewind to real
Uh-huh.
quick. The Salt Lake City, the people who went with her to kill Joel, they
Yes.
did lose something because the Fireflies disbanded after Joel did that.
Sure.
Right. So essentially they also lost
But
their
Owen, I mean, the flashback they showed with her saying that she knew where he was
Right.
Mhm.
with Owen clearly didn't want to go.
Right.
right.
He was pushed into it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just saying, they did a masterful job of turning it on its head. But anyway, getting back to what I was originally saying, I didn't want to play as her during that fight,
Mhm.
but I was willing to accept that because I felt like the ending the ending right after that made sense.
Right.
Abby didn't get her comeuppance.
Nope.
Right.
I was willing to be okay with that because she had sort of had her redemption arc.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. We're good. And yes, I felt bad for Ellie because she didn't get her revenge, but the whole point of the game up to that point was that revenge was a bad idea anyway.
Right.
Revenge
That's
was the
right.
wrong thing. It would have been proven that it was the wrong thing to do,
Yes.
but now we're going to go do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And then we get to another point where it's like, yeah, vengeance is a bad thing.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do it. We've proven it's not what we should do.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And, it's like, Jesus, okay.
Also,
I don't want to be here.
this game is probably about 5 or 8 hours too long.
Way too long.
This game
I-
could have been
well-
Not story wise, except for everything that happens after the first ending.
right.
But
I will agree
the
with you.
game
The
could
game
have been.
They
could
could
have
hours
ended.
longer.
Mhm.
Could have ended, maybe should have ended at the first farmhouse scene.
Well,
And I would have been totally happy with that.
but they also could have truncated those Seattle days a lot.
They could have cut some. There was definitely some fat that could have cut out of that.
Yeah.
But I liked playing through Santa Barbara. Actually,
I
like,
didn't want to.
I thought that was good, especially because ammo during that section was so ample
Yeah.
that
Because they want you to just run in and start shooting people willy-nilly.
right.
The
Right,
game is
exactly.
prompting you
Because
to
they're
go
building
on.
the narrative that Ellie's a terrible person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
The game is forcing you down
you're
that path.
right. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. No more sneaking around. No more even kind
But
of
I'm
like
not going to say
subterfuge.
heroes and villains in this game, because what I think they're trying to portray is that none of the organizations or leaders or characters in this game are good, except for the ones that you mentioned.
I don't know. I think the Fireflies seem to be, and the people in wherever their starting town was.
The
Jackson.
No, that was Hill Valley from Back to the Future 3.
It totally was.
Yeah.
But I mean, because they were even, they were, when Joel and Tommy met Abby, one of the first things they did was offers like, you should come on down and resupply. And,
sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing too, I want to point out, because Blair Farrell in the chat has been saying that, and a couple other people are saying that Ellie is terrible because of Joel as well. And Blair has said that circles back to the game where somebody should have asked Ellie what she wanted.
Yeah.
And Ellie says to Joel that he robbed her life of meaning. Absolutely true. But, and I really hate to play this card because I know it drives people crazy. I thought there was no more real moment in the game than in that flashback when Joel said, "I would do it all again."
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that point, he absolutely thought of her as his daughter.
Right.
And logically, it made perfect sense for her to lose her life so that a lot of other people could be saved. Like millions of people could be saved. Yeah. But emotionally, totally real moment where he says, "I would do it all again." And I'm sorry that, I'm sorry she wasn't okay with it. She was also 14. But like, I absolutely totally got what he was saying. And I totally agree with it. Imagine having that choice.
Yeah.
Especially after you've lost one child. But Joel is the villain, and that's why it didn't. It bothered. Joel is the villain. There you go. And it really bothered me when he was murdered, but he kind of had to be. He had to pay for what he did. He ended up killing a lot of people, both directly and indirectly.
That's right. Yeah.
And in a world where it is clearly an eye for an eye,
we do live in a world where that is a reality, where that happens, where somebody's decision ends up affecting people in that way, right? I mean, that, to me, that makes the story very real. In that the whole cycle of violence thing is real, in the fact that none of these factions are good, except maybe the people of Jackson.
Yeah. But, and I mean, talking about Joel's choice, I'm not saying it wasn't selfish. It was extremely selfish.
Extremely. Yeah.
But I totally get it and would probably make the same choice myself. So I mean,
all right, I'm spent. Even just talking about this game, and I was spent. The final scene, the whole video games don't often get me sweaty anymore. I was sweating by the end of this particular video game. And the Jeff Kanata quote about the game being an ordeal.
Oh God, don't. Okay.
No, I'm not going to go any further on that. But I mean, I agree that I put the controller down. I was just I thought the pacing up to the end, and you're getting a lot of guns and having to shoot your way through the Rattlers' stronghold, was in preparation for me to be tired of the violence at the end of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Phil is right in that the point was you're supposed to feel bad about all the violence, but I didn't. I didn't feel bad about the violence against the Rattlers. Right. And I think for me, the biggest problem that I had with both Ellie and Abby fights is that I don't have a problem. I've never had a problem with the violence because the game, and it's the same thing with the ending to the first game, I guess, but the game always puts you in a situation where the violence is in self-defense.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, you can choose to not be violent if possible. Right. And I mean, not from a standpoint of just stealthing around when you can, but then in those two situations, you were the aggressor.
Yeah.
And it just didn't sit well with me. And I personally don't feel like it actually totally did fit the characters because, at least as you're playing them, because most of the time the violence that happens is because you are being threatened.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why it felt so jarring to me both times. It's just like both times they didn't need to do what they did. And you know what? Make that an option. If you want to go that route, absolutely go that route. But see, I guess the thing is that in both situations, you don't get that option because there's a story that they want to tell. Sure. And the flip side of it is that, well, at least in the final situation, not fighting her wouldn't have led to Ellie's death, which is sort of the whole reason why you've been doing all this violence up until that point. She doesn't just go out and murder people because she wants to murder people. That hasn't been her character. No. Right. No. And I would even say that what happened in Salt Lake is the same. Like, yes, Joel was the aggressor in that situation, but it was still a threatening situation in that he felt like he was going to lose another child.
Yeah.
So, again, the rightness or wrongness of that is totally up for debate. And that's the whole point. You would debate that. But that's what I think is the big problem with, especially the ending to this game, is that, and why it feels so jarring is it's not just because I want everyone to be happy, feel yay, kind of thing, but it is out of character because everybody that she fights and kills up to that point is because she has been in danger and now she's not.
Right.
And it just, I hate that I didn't have that choice.
Yeah.
If it changed the ending, fine. Now if you put it to the point where Abby's standing there and she's not letting Ellie leave, sure, have the fight. You have to.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do. You can do that or die. So, and that it fell apart for me at the end. It's still a great game.
Yeah.
I still massively enjoyed it. It's,
yeah, I did too.
It's beautiful. The story for 28 of the 33 hours I played, I really enjoyed.
Which, by the way, when was the last time you played a 28-hour long narrative focused video game?
I don't remember, and I hope it doesn't happen a lot in the future.
Man, seriously, had they
could have trimmed out some for sure.
5 to 10 hours out of that game
Easily.
would have been,
and you wouldn't have
great.
lost anything. I'm not saying take any story out.
No, the story can be there, but just you can compress it. You can tweak the pacing.
Yeah,
you can make some of those areas not as extensive.
Yeah,
yeah.
I liked the pacing.
But anyway, it's still a great game. I was angry, but I was so angry at it by the end that, and I'm a big baby. I'll cry at all these emotional scenes.
Yeah.
The guitar thing, didn't give a shit.
Didn't
care anymore.
Didn't give a shit, really.
I was the same way, and actually, what was it? Was it like there was a moment towards the end? Was it maybe right before she left the farmhouse or something? There was another guitar scene where she sat down and played the guitar again. Mm-hmm. And at that point I was like, man, they're leaning a little. I get it. The guitar is her connection to Joel.
Right.
Yes. They maybe did it one time too many.
Yeah.
I don't need to have her sit down and strum the guitar for 2 minutes.
One thing I will say too, you're talking about one time too many. I gotta say that whole Naughty Dog thing where you squeeze through a small gap and something jumps out at you at the other side.
Oh, right.
34-hour game.
Yeah.
That happened too many times.
Yeah.
And when Abby's talking to the people on the radio who claim to be Fireflies, which I still don't think was true.
Oh, it is true, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, even if then it was
Yeah.
either way. When you get out of the house, you have to go out through this little gap, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
something's gonna go down.
So wait,
here.
the people on the other end of the radio were fireflies?
Yes, apparently that's in the spoiler cast. The Kind of Funny did. Neil Druckmann
Okay.
confirms the yes.
I was just kind of under the assumption that it was the Rattlers,
Me too. I thought that
which is why they were right there when she
Right,
got
I
out.
guess maybe they were just tracking them.
Here's the thing. So on the radio, they say that they abandoned their bases and went to Catalina Island.
Right.
At the end of the game, you finish the game and go back to the title screen. That
That is
boat is
Catalina.
on Catalina Island.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they made it to
Yeah,
Catalina.
they made it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's a good point.
Well, there we go.
Anyway, really great game.
Yeah.
I felt like the last 4 or 5 hours didn't need to happen, and it really, really, really left a bad taste in my mouth story-wise.
Yeah. The story ended up not. I was not super thrilled with how the story was pulled off at the end. I mean, there's stuff I liked certainly, but
Yeah.
I think a good chunk of it was handled in a pretty sloppy fashion. And
I was a lot happier with the story and the last 4 or 5 hours than you guys were for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, 10 out of 10. Goodness my.
10 out of
AAA, the Naughty Dog's done it again.
I mean, honestly, though, if I was to give this a score, it'd be a pretty damn high score.
Yeah,
because a lot of it is great.
I like on a 10-point scale, I'd probably give it an 8, maybe 8.5.
I'd probably go even higher.
Really?
I would go higher than that. Yeah.
It's still a great game.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really glad I played it. I'm really glad I experienced
Of course,
it. The
yeah.
experience kind of soured me at the end, but
Sure.
even so, I'm glad I went on the journey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
bring on Paper Mario. Bring on
And I'm
something
looking
light and
forward
funny.
to that Last of Us 3 in space that we are now all going to pitch to
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann. Yeah. Obviously a lot of the criticism that came out after that leaked footage was revealed. A lot of folks, I think there's even an internet petition to redo the game where Joel lives.
God, I
and it's
saw
just
that.
like,
Jesus
honestly, like then you have no game.
Right.
You have no game.
Right.
So
Well, these are the same people who are upset that Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi wasn't going around slicing up AT-ATs and
Right.
crushing throats with the Force.
yeah.
Joel, we have to have Joel in there shooting clickers, or else
Right.
it
Let
ain't
me
the
ask you
story
this.
I imagined for years. Yeah.
So do you think they are going to do a Last of Us Part 3?
Yes, of course they will.
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah.
Kind of
You
don't
think they
know
will?
Yes.
if they should, but
What do you think that would even entail?
I don't know.
Like, what would that entail?
I don't know.
They are doing a Last of Us TV show,
Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
which is going to be interesting. That's HBO
Is it?
or Showtime, one of those. Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to keep talking about this, I think we should wrap this up.
Oh, I think we should
too.
12:30 here.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
All right.
CJ's suddenly like, let's discuss sequel ideas.
Yeah, let's talk
talk
about
about
Last of Us
Let's
Part
not.
3.
Let's not.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. 3 hours
Jeez.
later.
Yeah, it was worth it.
It was
Goodness.
worth it. Yeah.
nice
If
when
you have
we
a
all play
question
the
for
same
us or
game.
would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitters. Or you can go to our internet website at playeronepodcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
Nothing recent though.
Nope. And you'll find Generation 16 episodes.
It's getting real close to this one. Although I've realized recently that there's a couple more pieces of footage I need to capture. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
slowing it down a little bit, but it's right there. Really
There
close.
you go. There you
Excellent.
go. You'll find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about during this episode, including a link to Greg Seward's streams. There you do your Monday, your Tuesday, your Thursday for Extra
Twitch
Life.
TV/Seward.
Indeed. You will also find a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode and The Last of Us 2.
Oh,
Want to with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening application. You can also find us on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can check out video archives of our show and watch us live most weeks at the youtubes.com/P1 podcast. Follow our Twitter account at P1 podcast. Find out when we are recording our next live show. It's usually Sundays. It's usually at 5:30 Pacific time. So mark your calendars, chumps. If you like what you've heard, and how could you, head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. Maybe CJ can buy a philosophy book to define what makes a heroic character. Yeah, maybe learn about the hero's journey.
No,
CJ, it typically doesn't end with a knife to a kid's throat.
Spoiler.
I mean, we're in the spoiler part.
No, we're
right?
not.
What?
No, we're not.
This is
the outro.
This is the outro.
But the outro.
No.
Who is gonna? Because the Last of Us discussion's at the end of the show, right?
Some people might listen to this.
Who is gonna
Some
be like,
people.
oh, I gotta hear that outro that I hear every week?
Sometimes.
Spoiler.
I'm gonna have to beep that.
Jeez,
An audio
Louise.
version. Thanks.
Please. Nobody's watching this.
You're the real villain.
Nobody's watching the
Phil.
outro. Nobody wants
Phil,
to.
you're the
Went to
villain.
bed.
Nobody's skipping to the outro. We never
Yes,
do
they
anything
might.
good. No, we
There
never
are
do anything
chapter
good.
stops.
You're
anyway.
a chap. You know what? Your face is a chapter stop.
That's true.
Sick a burn.
Burn.
Hey, and if you have a couple dollars left over, head over to generation-16.com where you'll find the Patreon link to help support Greg. So it's outstanding, and it is outstanding. Web series about North America's favorite second banana, the Sega Genesis.
Thanks, Phil.
It does what Nintendo don't, which is, of course, to be successful.
Ouch. Hey, they were real successful until they torpedoed
They
themselves.
were. I love Sega. Come on. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Hey, Patreon friends, remember, if you are a Patreon supporter of the Player One Podcast at the $5 tier, you do gain access to a special weekly bonus show where we play games, we have fun, we crack wise, we do all the things that your mama says you're not supposed to do on a podcast. So join us for that, won't you? If you'd like a sample of what those bonus shows are, CJ, our good pal CJ, has been putting up old ones, like from 2 years ago, up on our feed on the Thursday nights, so you can listen to some of our old bonus episodes. And please consider joining us for the live ones. Of course, your Patreon dollars do help keep the lights on here at the Player One Podcast. CJ, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. And Gregory,
Yo.
thank you as well.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you. And of course, thank you to all of our wonderful, wonderful listeners. We love each and every single one of you. Please be safe. Take care of yourself and your family, your loved ones. Wear a mask, for crying out loud. Come
Please do.
on. Jeez
Please.
Louise. And we'll see you next week, huh?
Maybe.
Bye.
Huh?
Bye, everybody.
That's the cue, guys. That's the bye-bye noise.
Bye.
Bye.